You, Zoe, what do you kind of recall from it?
I think we dialed in a lot on our at bats, and I think it was just a focus thing with the at bats. And then with our defense, I think just like everybody trusting each other and Jocelyn trusting us behind her, I think that was really what helped us come to the top. So,
And Coach, in the moment, it was probably the close, obviously the most recent one with Whitney, but this was the closest game runs wise, and so everything kind of mattered when it came to it with this Madera game. They mentioned the run aspect of that offense, and sometimes you feel a little. I think about it in playoffs, especially with teams who are playing a first playoff game. No matter who you are, you're playing the first playoff game of your chance to run at it. Things can get a little tight and things like that. Did you feel it a little bit in that game?
Absolutely. Told them after the game, okay, we got it all out. Everybody get it out. But no, Madera, tip your cap to Madera. They have a good team. They're really fast and they're really well coached. That was a tough game, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did. They had some momentum at the end, and we were able to shut it down.
So you take on Stockdale, just a big, really good effort from you guys, 10-3. And so you win this game, and I'm sure you're expecting Central one on the other side, but you get Buchanan. And I want to talk about Buchanan because Buchanan had a really nice run through their tournaments, right? Mm-hmm. And did it surprise you how good Buchanan could be in a playoff situation, knowing they went from a play-in round to facing you in the Central Section title game? I'm sure that was a good battle as well. What was exciting about facing Buchanan in that Central Section championship, Coach?
I think that, as a coach, you're getting your team, it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the dugout, but just to play our game and stay within ourselves. I really don't try to get caught up in who we're playing. They're all our opponent, and we have to go win 7 innings and, make timely hits and make good pitches. Buchanan, they have a great program. They've had a great program for a long time. So, any team in the track, it's like a dogfight. So it's like who's playing their best ball at the end of the year.
For Zoe and Jocelyn, you kind of punched them right away, really, with the first couple innings. And is that when Clovis North is in its best position? Is okay? The runs come, and then we feel like I describe it kind of like an anaconda. Sometimes it just kind of grabs the game and just kind of squeezes the life out of it. Sometimes, do you feel like that sometimes when Clovis North is in that lead, like, all right, we dictate how this game goes as opposed to the other team?
I would say for any team, you get a little comfortable at first when you get ahead, but I think at the same time it's also staying humble and realizing like they can come back at any moment, so we have to stay like dialed in and working hard throughout the game.
Yeah, I think we really just had to win the innings. Any team that wins an inning is going to have the upper hand for that inning, but it's the next one that's going to matter because you can have security runs, but your pitcher still has to go out there and hold it down, and if something happens or if there's an error that anything happens, hits happen. There's good hitters, and I've faced them 3, 4, 5 times during season, so it's easy to make adjustments. But I feel like knowing that everyone had each other was a big theme for us.
Back-to-back is so hard sometimes in high school, especially with the turnover and all that stuff, But obviously, that is such an accomplishment, and I know for both of you, you're still not done. You want a three-peat, and that's for sure. But how much do you allow yourself to be like, wow, that's quite an accomplishment for us to go back-to-back and to be able to accomplish that? I'll start with the players here. How much do you allow yourself to enjoy it? Now that, obviously earlier in the week it's come and gone, eliminated from state, but now you get to say, wow, this is something we don't usually see in Central Section.
It's surreal. Honestly, the first time, you have such a reaction, you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then the second time, you're like, wait, I can't believe we just did that. You know what I mean? And so it's just it's such a shock, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, we have next year. So, yeah.
What about for you, Justin?
I feel like it was a crazy feeling. We'd been there before, and honestly, we were so tuned in. They were like, we can do this, which I feel like that's what every team does feel like once they get to that stage. But honestly, once we won the game, I think I was more focused on playing in state because I did get the ring last year and this year, but I feel like I wanted something bigger. And once we fell short for state, I feel like I was a little down on myself, and I feel like everyone kind of was. But we did make a huge accomplishment, and I feel like that was honestly big just for us as a team and as a school.
And, Coach, I know it's about the kids winning, and it's about the kids in their moment, right? But how much do you allow yourself a little bit to be like, wow, I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish, and let it kind of sink in for you, the back-to-back side of things? And I know you want another one after this, but how much do you enjoy it in the moment?
I I am just really proud of our coaching staff and along with our players. I mean, I had the greatest coaching staff in high school, and they put in the work, and it's amazing to watch the transformation from the fall into the end of the year. And there was no doubt in our mind that we could be in that title game, and that was the goal. And you kind of have to break the season into 3 parts. You have your preseason, you have the battle of the track, and then you have postseason. And so the goal from the coaching staff was always to have them playing their best ball, most confident ball towards the end of track to go on into playoffs. But like I said, that experience piece and having your players, play at Fresno State and be there and experience the pressure is huge. And to be able to pass that down from year to year and create that tradition, that culture in playoffs is huge.
Absolutely. Something's going on outside. Hopefully everything's okay. Anyways, I have to ask one more question before we go, and it's in regards to something that's happening tonight, right? I think you're all locked in on the softball national championship. So I'm genuinely curious where your opinions are on Texas. You've played in a few World Series yourself,
Yes.
right, Coach?
Yep.
So you know what it feels like, I'm sure, in a game like this.
A lot of pressure.
Where's the excitement level in watching Texas versus Texas Tech tonight? Do you got any opinions on Game 3 tonight between those two teams?
I mean, Texas was here last year, so they definitely, I think people think they have the upper hand, but I think Tech, they also really want to win as the underdog. So that's
Yeah.
really
I feel
cool.
like they both are really hardworking teams, and honestly, at the end of the day, it's whoever wants it more. There's going to be one play, one decision that's going to kind of make or break the game, I feel like, because they're just so in tune with each other and they trust each other so well.
Yeah.
I'll go down the line. Who's winning tonight? Courtney,
Ooh,
if you had to
I don't know.
pick?
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Wow, all 3 Texas Tech around the row. We'll see. It's exciting. I know it's going to be on our TV here in about an hour or so, so we'll be looking forward to that. So good to have new blood in, right? Oklahoma's been running it a little bit too much.
It's
So.
true.
Hopefully, I know you want to keep winning things too. So with Clovis North wanting to run it like an Oklahoma style run. So we'll see how it goes. But anyways, I appreciate you all for coming into the studio as always. Congrats on the wonderful season, and
Thank you.
good luck to next year, because I know you want to take care of business again and be right back here in a year from now. So thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much.
Absolutely. Courtney Dale, Zoe Thomas, Jocelyn Gonzalez here on 1430 ESPN from Clovis North Softball. Stay with us. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on 1430 ESPN.
Summer is here in the Central Valley, and the action at Valley Athletics is where you want to be. It's Phil Benotti here to tell you about some summer programs for your hooper in your life. VBA Skills Academy is coming up fast on July 14th, and all skill levels are welcome. This camp is open to all ages between 3rd through 10th grade, with each day dedicated to a core basketball skill, ensuring that they get the confidence that they need in a dynamic environment. ValleyAthletics.co is the website where you find all the information and to sign up. Valley Athletics, developing the athlete in everyone. Hey guys, it's Phil Benotti with Behind the Bench, here to tell you about my friends at Clovis Truck Center. Remember, summer is right around the corner, and you need to be ready for all the fun that you can have on the road. And if you have a truck for work or play, you know it's important to have everything you need to make the summer a blast. That's why you need to go to my friends at Clovis Truck Center. We're talking all the towing that you need, whether it's for boats or RVs. Need a brake controller on that 5th wheel? Clovis Truck Center has it. They think of everything over there. Just another reason they are bigger than the bedliner. Also, you're probably wondering if you have enough room to transport that summer outdoor equipment. Clovis Truck Center offers roof rack solutions, not just for trucks, but for cars and SUVs as well. So get your summer off on the right foot and head over to their shop. You can find them just south of the Clovis Rodeo Grounds out there in Old Town Clovis. Clovis Truck Center, the first, the biggest, and still the best in the Central Valley.
Hi, I'm Nick Anderson.
And I'm Jim Schaefer with Helena Agri-Enterprises. Nick, how important is irrigation management?
Well, Jim, irrigation management is extremely important. When we water our crops, more often than not, we're also fertilizing them. So irrigation uniformity and efficiency are crucial.
Nick, that has to be a challenge considering the different soil types and how they impact water movement.
That's right, Jim. That's why at Helena we recommend using our newest water use management tool, ResGenix. ResGenix is easy to use and designed to increase water infiltration on heavy soils, reduce soil crusting, and increase the holding capacity of sandy soils. Jim, tell the nice people how it works.
ResGenix enhances soil structure by coating the soil particles. Simply put, ResGenix increases pore space in heavy soils and improves aggregation in sandy soils.
At Helena, we lead with agronomy, and water management impacts our crop health and quality. You can visit helenaagri.com to find your local Helena retailer and learn more about Helena products.
Prices on steel and materials are going up, but at Pacific Steel Supply, they're still delivering the best deals in the industry. Whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, or ag projects, Pacific Steel Supply will match or beat any competitor's price by an extra 10% on top quality steel, metal roofing, and components. With 24/7 service, fast delivery, and the best prices, the time to act is now. Get your free quote today from Pacific Steel Supply in Fresno, Ashland, and Parkway off Highway 99 or online at pacificsteelsupply.com.
Central Valley, are you ready for a seamless car buying journey? Madera Toyota Chevrolet has you covered. With their 25-year, 250,000-mile warranty and everything priced under MSRP, you're always in for a great deal. Plus, enjoy their no-pressure policy and 2 years of free maintenance on new vehicles, their way of saying thank you for choosing them. And calling all truck lovers, explore their selection of rugged Silverados, powerful Tundras, and versatile Tacomas. Whatever your needs, they have the perfect truck for you. Visit them today at MaderaToyotaChevrolet.com, where every drive begins with trust.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela. Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything. But while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
Hate New York City. It's cold and it's damp. And all the people dressed like monkeys. Let's leave Chicago to the Eskimos. That town's a little bit too rugged. You and me, you bad girl.
All right, welcome back to Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader. Big thanks to Clovis North for joining us in the last segment. Clovis North softball specifically. Big congrats to them once again for an awesome season in softball, and I'm sure they will be enjoying that for a little bit. And then, of course, the work never stops for for some people out there who are committed to their craft. So, three-peat on the way potentially for Clovis North softball. We'll see how it goes. All right, so we are rolling along here. I wanted to shout out some of the teams that are still alive in the state in baseball and softball brackets. I got some updates for you. And some games I thought that were going to happen yesterday are now happening today. I think it's all graduation stuff that people have to figure out. So we have some teams that are still alive in the state baseball and softball playoffs, so I wanted to just shout them out real quick. Of course, Fowler is in. They are still in that D3 NorCal Baseball Championship. Fowler's got Roseville today, and they are up in Roseville. The 1 seed versus the 4 seed. We will see what the Red Cats can do. Red Cats will look to move on to a regional championship. Of course, if Fowler wins, they have no chance of hosting a regional championship because it's the 3 versus 2 on the other side. So Carmel and Rancho Catate on the other side. Fowler looking to upset the 1 seed Roseville. Fowler, reminder, 2-1 over Lincoln. They will look to beat Roseville there. D4 SoCal Baseball Championships. Little reminder, Ridgeview out of Bakersfield is the team that's still alive from the Central Section. They have their game tonight against Estancia. Estancia 1-2-1. And so Ridgeview has the home game tonight. They're the 2 seed. They will look to beat Estancia. If Ridgeview wins, They will face Banning. Banning beat Rancho Mirage in the semifinal yesterday. So Banning, another 3-2 victory. Remember, Banning beat Lemoore. Lemoore had a good battle with them, 3-2. So Banning moving on to the regional championship. Ridgeview will look to match them. Corcoran tonight in Corcoran hosting New View Bridge. New View Bridge won on Wednesday, 14-3. We are waiting to see who Corcoran will play. That is who it is. New View Bridge tonight in Corcoran in a battle. We'll see what they can do. If Corcoran wins, it's a matchup between them and Pioneer. Pioneer High, who beat High Tech SD. I believe that's High Tech San Diego. Pioneer won the championship. They play either Corcoran or New View Bridge. That's in D5 SoCal. To the softball teams, just doing a little run through of that. Liberty Madeira's run in the NorCal D3 softball championship. That one has come to an end. They lost to Hillsdale. Hillsdale was coming off the bye. Hillsdale beats Liberty Madeira 3-2. So it's Hillsdale. They'll face Cardinal Newman in a regional championship. Cardinal Newman beating Pleasant Valley 1-0. In the SoCal D1 softball championships, Monache heartbreaker loses to Christian on the road. Christian High gets a 1-0 win over Monache. Christian will advance to the regional championship. They'll face either Eastlake or Westlake. But finally, how about this? One state softball championship will have an all-central section championship. We'll take that. Pioneer Valley, a 10-0 win over Rio Hondo Prep. Woodlake, 18-8 over University. So Woodlake High, Pioneer Valley, matching up in a regional championship on, I believe, Saturday in Pioneer Valley. So a little bit of a drive for our Woodlake Tigers. But two Central Section champions getting ready in softball, now ready for a state championship in the D5 side of things as well. So happy to bring that as we roll along. Congrats to those teams. We will probably have an update on Monday of what they can do as well. All right. Giving out the schedule for the weekend as well. Just wanted to give you a more detailed one as we move along. Of course, we go to 6 o'clock today. Giants baseball coming up at 6:45. Pregame against the Atlanta Braves. I'm trying to remember if it's an Apple game. I don't think it's an Apple TV game. Maybe I think it's just a late Friday night start time for the Giants tonight. But we'll check it out here. Yeah, it's not a Apple TV game. So you'll be able to watch it if you have the local programming. But Giants Braves 6:45 pregame, 7:15 first pitch. A's baseball back in Sacramento, staying in Sacramento. They have the Orioles this weekend. It just reminds me of what I went through last year when I watched the A's and the Orioles, because last time I saw the A's and Orioles match up here on the West Coast, I believe the A's scored somewhere up to the range of 13 runs in 2 innings on the Orioles, the game I went to. It was absolutely unbelievable and psychotic. They were scoring at that pace. So A's and Orioles is the matchup this weekend. We'll see if the A's bats can wake up and the A's bullpen can not be self-destroying machine that it is for the A's right now. 6:30 start time tonight on 790, 7:05 first pitch over on 790. Tomorrow, Central Valley Sports Report with Paul Metters from 10 to noon, live from First Ring Sports. Giants baseball again, 12:35 day game with a 1:05 first pitch from San Francisco. A's are in the nighttime, 6:30 p.m. against the Oilers. It's not the Oilers, the Orioles, excuse me. And then Sunday, we will have Giants and Braves. That is a 12:35 pregame with a 1:05 first pitch. Following that, at 4 o'clock, Pacers Thunder pregame will begin for the NBA Finals Game 2. And then at 5 p.m., first pitch or tip-off from there. Sirens. There's sirens just happening everywhere outside. We've been dealing with it the last 20 minutes. Hopefully everything's okay. One can speculate. I'm sure you'll hear about it on your local news. A's and Orioles also on Sunday, 12 p.m. Pregame with a 12:35 first pitch on 790. So that's where we got it. We'll be back Monday. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yeah. Rocky Stead of the day. We got a Rocky stat of the day. Hopefully I can find it here real quick because I want to make sure I get it in here before we end the segment here. But out of all the teams that needed the amount of games that needed to reach 10 wins, every single team in baseball, you could multiply that by 2, and that would take the amount of same games that the Rockies would have. 60 games it took for the Rockies to get to 10 wins. Everybody but the White Sox, you could multiply them by 2, the number of games, and it still would not have reached the amount of times the Rockies got to 10 wins. The Rockies, it took 60 games to get to 10 wins. For the record, the Padres and the Giants, it took them 13 games to get to 10 wins in that aspect. So, crazy math there. Not the craziest Rocky stat, but, the Rockies coming off a sweep, so maybe they're better than we thought. So I'm trying to find some better Rocky stats for you out there. All right, so end of the hour here. We're going to come to hour number 2 on our show. Some of the things we got to talk about here, of course, I think we got to touch on the hockey. It was my directive from Tony D to talk about hockey. I think he wanted to hear 3 hours of hockey on the show. Sorry, Tony. I'm sorry if he's disappointed in the fact that he can't listen to 3 hours of hockey from yours truly. I can do it. We can do it. Tanvir, we can make up some 3 hours of content of hockey, right?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Connor McDavid. We just say his name for 3 hours, right?
Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, there we go. Corey Perry. How about him?
And I'm playing.
Now you're done. Can you name a Panther?
Yeah, Marchand. There's
okay.
Kachuk.
There's Kachuk. Yeah, you're right. All right, we got him. All right, there's a few. All right, passing with Sam Bennett's a name. That's a name. I'm out. Roberto Luongo used to be a guy I could think of and I rely on for the Panthers. I hate the Panthers so much I just refuse to understand who they are and what they are. They stole Marchand from my Bruins and they've destroyed my hopes and dreams as a Bruins fan numerous times in the playoffs. So I refuse to acknowledge them and I refuse to understand who they are and what they want. So go Oilers. All right, yes. Hockey analysis coming up next on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader.
Giants baseball is here.
Chapman, it's a drive out to left center field. At the wall, it is gone!
Your home for Giants baseball lives on 1430 ESPN Fresno.
Double play! And the
Home and away on the Central Valley sports leader. Giants baseball, brought to you by Bowman & Associates, Citizens Business Bank, Donald P. Dick, Pacific Steel Supply, and Madera Toyota Chevrolet.
Need cash? If you've got a car, we've got the cash. Clausen Honda wants to buy your car. If it's running, we want your late model Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, Subaru, Acura, or Honda. Just call Clausen and ask for our VUP to schedule your appraisal appointment. In just 10 minutes, you'll get your cash value quote. Yes, we are eliminating the hassle of getting rid of your used old car. So if you're ready to sell, we are ready to buy. Call Clausen Honda of Fresno today. If you've got a car, we've got the cash. Get cash for your car. Clausen Honda.
Sports fans of the Central Valley, are you ready to step up your game day grilling? Step into the Butcher Boss and discover winning flavors the champions crave. Ask about their 5 for $35 deal, where you can feed up to 5 people for $35 every day. Located right off the 41 north of Avenue 11, stop by the Butcher Boss today and become the boss of your barbecue.
It would be a bit of an understatement to say there are plenty of men's clothing brands out there. At Patrick James, we're a bit biased. We offer comfortable, high-quality clothing at very competitive prices. Patrick James delivers impeccable classic looks that keep your wardrobe moving forward in a confident, modern direction. See for yourself online or come into our store on 780 West Shaw to find the style and brands you're looking for at Patrick James.
Take me out to the ball game. Baseball is back, and it doesn't get any better than the Fieldhouse Sports Bar and Grill, indoors or on the patio. Root for your team while enjoying their famous burgers, dogs, and fries. And did you know they have the coldest beer in town? No, seriously. With 16 draft beers on tap, served in an ice-cold pint, it'll sure get you cool for the summer. The Fieldhouse Sports Bar and Grill. Food, sports, fun. On Copper Avenue at the entrance to the beautiful Copper River Ranch.
The wait is over. Valley Pure presents Crazy Horse, the wild new flower from Cowgirl Cannabis. This isn't just a strain, it's an experience. Ready to get on the wild side? Then saddle up and ride with Crazy Horse. Available now only at Valley Pure. Bold, untamed, unforgettable. Don't just hear about it, live it. Get to one of Valley Pure's 5 locations and grab your Crazy Horse today. Cowgirl Cannabis. Blaze the trail.
Home office. It started a few years ago at the kitchen table. Then, many of us turned our third bedrooms into functional workspace with every kind of technology imaginable. The home office selection at Fresno's Fashion Furniture, including the most beautiful desks, chairs, file cabinets, and accessories available. Check out the home office selection at Fresno's Fashion Furniture. There's nothing like it in all of California.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to Prilosec OTC off to get you started. Plus, 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to PrilosecOTC.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Your home for high school sports. 1430 ESPN, the Valley's local sports leader. KFIG Fresno.
This is SportsCenter.
Marty Hausberger, top-ranked Yannick Sinner beat Novak Djokovic in 3 sets today to set up a French Open final against defending champion Carlos Alcaraz. Earlier, Alcaraz led 2-1 and 2-love in the fourth against Lorenzo Musetti when the 8-seeded Italian retired with a leg injury. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup final is tonight. Edmonton up a game on Florida. Colorado Avalanche forward Logan O'Connor underwent hip surgery today, is expected to miss 5 to 6 months. Diamondbacks pitcher Corbin Burns will undergo Tommy John surgery. Manager Torey Lovallo announced that today. Burns left his start Sunday in the 5th inning. In his first season in Arizona, Burns is 3-2 with a 2.66 ERA in 11 starts. Red shortstop L.A. De La Cruz will not be in the lineup for Cincinnati's season opener against Arizona tonight after his flight from the Dominican Republic, where he was mourning the death of his older sister, was canceled. Jonathan Aranda drove in 2 runs today, led the Rays over the Marlins 4-3. The Knicks, they have an interest in talking to Mavericks head coach Jason Kidd about their head coaching vacancy. New York may also have another interest, this one in a player named Kevin Durant.
There's going to be some level of change to this Knicks roster. Now, do you go for a landmark player? Do you try to look into Giannis Antetokounmpo? Do you look at Kevin Durant? On Kevin Durant, I will say this. There was some mutual interest between Kevin Durant and the Knicks at the trade deadline. The Knicks made an offer for Kevin Durant at the NBA trade deadline. Obviously, there was no Kevin Durant trade. We'll see.
ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania on NBA Today.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Monday. Now that Aaron Rodgers is finally a Steeler, I'll tell you what that means for them when it comes to the AFC North. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
He's got the knowledge.
Because once again, I have to come on there and talk about how right I am once again. In anything that it comes to sports.
He's got the questions.
I'm going to lose it. Are you kidding me? What are we doing here?
He's got the guests.
20th head coach in Fresno State history here, Matt. I'm still the 20th head coach here in program history.
It's all moved really quickly here over the course of the last 5-6 weeks. But super excited to be here.
Phil Benotti is the voice for the Central Valley sports leader. Behind the Bench starts now. Brought to you by Helena Agri.
That's right. Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader. Hour number 2 of our show. Hour number 2, time flying when we're having fun, as what an old intro would say here. But we are here and enjoying ourselves and happy to have you. One more hour if you're just listening. One more hour till work's done, and you're on your way to whatever you want to do over the weekend. Hopefully everybody's got some good weekend plans. Hopefully they're staying cool, all that great stuff. I'm going to talk about – should I talk about there's a lot of things going on, a lot of championship stuff happening. I wanted to talk about the NBA. I want to talk about the NHL. We have an interview to show you as well. We had Cam Brock on a couple of days ago that I need to play in this hour. So I don't want to take too much time here, but maybe this is the place where I clear out the lane. I'm going to flip it a little bit on the rundown, guys, over there. We're talking NBA here again because I just can't get enough of what happened last night with the Thunder and the Pacers, because we reacted at the top of the show of just reacting simply to what happened last night. But now it's like I need to look at what this means, and I don't think we ever evaluated what that really means in the grand scheme of what we just watched. So, Tanvir, you're here producing again. We also have Julie over here on the producing side of the video producing. So I don't know if there's a camera pointing at you, but you're waving anyway. We got to get a camera back there sometime, guys. Maybe we take this one to my left and just kind of find a place to put it so people can see your lovely faces over there on that side. So just don't give yourself too much face time. That's a lot of power to put a camera and then have the person directing it over there. Anyways, so we have game one last night, and like I said, we talked a lot about the historic. I read so many stats about it, the historical nature of what actually happened last night, but also just in the sense of what this means moving forward. I think that's the next question you ask for in this one. And so, is there adjustments here for this Thunder and Indiana Pacers series? I simply believe there will be. I don't think that's. I think that's a given in the aspect of what we're looking at here. But is it quite simply the answer was OKC didn't implement the best game plan going into this one? Or was Indiana playing as bad as they possibly could have and still won the game? And maybe OKC is in a lot more trouble than we know because Indiana played as poorly as I think you could have played a basketball game turnover-wise, and yet the amount of opportunities that were presented to them allowed them to get themselves back into the game. What's the bigger side of it in our mind, in our opinion? Is it OKC who blew it, or is it Indiana who didn't play their best and won it last night anyway?
To me personally, I think OKC blew it. I think they had a clear lack of killer instinct, in my opinion, in that fourth quarter. They allowed Indiana to come back into that game with their poor field goal percentage. And even though they had, in my opinion, which was a defensive masterclass in that first half, giving Indiana fits like they've never seen before, right? We had, I believe, 18 turnovers in the first half. That's the most in any half that the Pacers have had in this postseason. Defensively, I thought they played great, but it's just they need other players to step up beyond SGA to really give that impact that they need on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think there's any blame on SGA. And, yeah, everyone's like, well, he missed the shot that he needed to hit too. That's not it. That's your being in the moment. Look at SGA. Yeah. I mean, SGA, most points in an NBA Finals debut outside of two other performances, and we're talking AI for the 76ers back in 2001, and we're talking George Mikan. I don't think anybody was alive watching George Mikan play basketball in 1949 against some team they claim named the Capitals in the NBA. So,
hockey team?
No, I get maybe that it was plumbers and mailmen back then, right? In 1949. SGA's performance was the first time in that leaderboard where his team ended up losing. So, but it's fascinating to see where the help can come from, because I knew we all were taught throughout this whole postseason that OKC's depth is what is their strength. That is the strength. And yet, I don't know if the Indiana did anything that affected that depth, affected their ability to lean in that depth. OKC got absolutely out-rebounded like crazy in this game. I think I saw the stat. Where was the rebounding stats if you have it in front of you? I know rebounding stats is archaic as a way of analyzing a basketball game, but I think it stands out in my opinion.
For sure. I mean, it was 56-39, so they were out-rebounded by 17 rebounds. On the offensive side of the glass, I mean, it was pretty even, 13-10, so it was kind of just OKC.
But it's Indiana getting the second chances, or at least shutting down the second chances for OKC, I'd say a little bit more, with getting those rebounds. But the thing is, I don't think you would have pegged Indiana as the rebounding team in this series when we knew what Hartenstein was, and we knew what Chet Holmgren could be, and whatever size that OKC could have thrown in those two guys. But I don't know. Was it because even Miles Turner wasn't as impressive to me last night? It felt like Nemhard was big on the boards. It felt like Siakam was huge on the boards. We talked about it yesterday or 2 days ago in our finals kind of preview of what I was watching for. The finals experience and knowing what it needs to take when you have to do the little things. I felt like Siakam had his handprints on all over this game last night. You mentioned that too as well, Tanvir, right? And so where are the adjustments going to be made in this series is going to be fascinating to me, because I think Carlisle won in the coaching side of things last night as well. With the adjustments, even with the challenge, I thought the challenge wasn't even. I think he knew he wasn't going to win the challenge, but at least he knew I'm going to call a timeout anyway. I'm going to make them think about this one, and at least maybe give them the opportunity to set something up as well. I mean, Indiana's just a fascinating article into what this team can be capable of, because I think we still look at them as the team below 500 back in December and not look at where they are now. And it's a fascinating case study of how far can you get away from your biases and actually understand that this honestly, the Warriors were kind of had the Indiana way of it as well, with their second half way of playing. Everyone kind of looked at the Warriors and being like, well, this is a team surging in the same way. And so I kind of felt like there were parallels in that, if you wanted to look at it that way. So, I don't know what can change in the game tomorrow, or excuse me, the game Sunday, outside of I think both teams are going to continue to play the way they played. And is OKC, here's the question I'll ask for you, Tanvir. Is OKC going to be ignorant enough to say last night's performance is an anomaly? We won't let that go down again, and we're going to comfortably win by 10 this next time because we're just going to figure it out a little bit better when we go down the stretch.
I think for sure. I think like their game plan has always been, let's run our offense through SGA and have all of our other players hit their corner threes, hit their shots. I think it was quite interesting that they started Cason Wallace last night.
Mm-hmm.
I know I said last time we talked about this that Cason Wallace and Lou Dort were very good defensively against Tyrese Halliburton, and they honestly were. But I think maybe adding an Alex Caruso, who I thought was playing a little bit better on the offensive side of the ball, that can still provide a pretty good defensive output. I think maybe inserting him to line up instead of Cason Wallace and having Cason come off the bench could be a little bit of an impact as well. But I don't know what else the Pacers could really do. I mean, if you look at the game, right, they played good. They played good. I know at the end of the game, they just kind of crumbled under their lack of three-pointers.
Yeah.
And they were just letting the Pacers back into the game. But
because I thought the Pacers looked overwhelmed, especially in the half court. Sometimes you would see them kind of get trapped in the corner a little bit, not on the corners as far as near the baseline, but I'm talking on the back corners.
Like the wings, right?
The wings. They were turned a little bit, and the Thunder were able to cut off angles in certain aspects and cause turnovers that way. And I thought that was a really eye-opening way of, like, it looked like an overwhelmed team for a while. Like Indiana just looked like, I remember seeing this in high school sometimes around here, and I'm sure you watch some high school games. Sometimes when a team's overmatched like that, they turn to that corner, they face the sideline, and then they get in trouble because they're trying to turn away from whatever defender's coming after them. They try to force a pass, somebody cuts it off, fast break the other way.
Yeah, I mean, even Richard Jefferson was talking about it, right? The Pacers looked like they were playing too fast, and you know that they can make those kind of acrobatic passes to their players. But I definitely think that the OKC defense they adhered to that, and they were able to kind of pick off those second passes when they did get when the ball handler did get trapped.
Yeah, there's another stat that just is insane to me here. You want to hear another crazy historic Pacer stat?
If it's not the same as mine, I'd like to say one too. But yeah, go ahead.
Let's see who's got a better one. The Pacers win last night means they go 7-0 in the first two games of every series in NBA history. They are a 4 seed. This has happened 10 times since in history. All the other times it's happened, it's been a 1 seed doing that. They're a 4 seed doing this. How about that?
It's unprecedented what they're doing, and I love that. I've loved their run so far this year. But the stat that I was going to bring up, that teams, when trailing by 9 or more points in the final 3 minutes of an NBA Finals game since 1971, are 1-182. I just feel like every single point of this playoffs, the Pacers have done something that has not been done before, and I think people will appreciate, if they are to finish the job and win this NBA Finals, they're going to appreciate how good of a run this was after the fact and not really living in the moment of it.
Is it fair or unfair? Because we look to history to try to understand, right? And I'm trying to understand this Pacers team and the historical nature of it. Is this unprecedented, or is there any team I can comp this to? The only one I can think of where I'm like, we didn't expect them to do this, and they're kind of guided by obviously a legitimate superstar, but not one that, let's legitimately say the entire NBA voted in a poll and said he was overrated. Remember that?
Right.
That aged well. Is it 04 Pistons like? That's kind of the only one I can think of. I don't know if you remember the 04, because they had the big bag Lakers coming into town, and everyone thought Kobe, Shaq, Lakers, done deal. This Pistons team, who legitimately, I don't think anybody could have named the roster beforehand. I can now name the roster like the back of my hand. It was one of my favorite NBA teams ever to win the title. Is it fair to compare it to that? Is it the Mavericks in 11? I'm trying to think of the precedence of this run and where people can kind of make this as, if they win the championship, this is as unexpected as we've ever seen in the NBA.
Yeah, I think you could definitely compare it to those teams. I just think the fact that they have been so good in the clutch, right? It's like 8-1 in clutch games in this playoffs. It's something that I have not seen since I started watching the NBA. Back in like 2008, right? And
yeah.
I just think it's so impressive, right? Like how good these guys are, even when they're down. They're so resilient, and they're able to scrap back into games whenever they need to.
Took them that much to win last night by 1 point. The other point of it is OKC could be just that more talented and adjust and win in 5 and flip it the other way. But if you're the Pacers, this is certainly the recipe you wanted to do. If you're going to upset it and beat the odds, taking game one was certainly the first step. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to have our interview replay with Cameron Braca, Fresno State football. Stay with us. You're listening to 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader.
Listen to your Fresno Grizzlies on ESPN Radio. That's right. Select games will be on 1430 and 790 ESPN Radio, your local sports leader. The Fresno Grizzlies at Chikchincy Park are always entertaining. Now hear them compete on the radio. Spending your time at the ballpark with the family is always a great time. So be sure to check out as many home games as you can this season. Check out 1430ESPNFresno.com for game times and more. And keep it right here on 1430 ESPN Radio, your local sports leader.
Roger Dunn has the new Callaway Paradigm AI smoke drivers to take your game to the next level. State-of-the-art technology. They've created the most advanced driver face in the history of Callaway Golf. The AI Smart Face is designed to create a sweet spot, and not just the center, but all over the face. AI smoke drivers, fairway irons, and putters. The AI smoke driver, it's sweeter from every spot. Paradigm AI smoke drivers. Remember, you're always number one at Roger Dunn.
Introducing The Sidebar, a brand new open-air beer garden at Me and Ed's Coney Island Grill in River Park. Experience a new way to catch a game, hang with friends, and enjoy new appetizers, char-grilled burgers, salads, wings with over 10 house-made sauces, and of course, world-famous Me and Ed's Pizza. Thirsty? Try our self-poured taps with over a dozen craft beers, wines, ciders, and craft seltzers. Plus a full bar with an impressive selection of tequilas, whiskeys, and craft cocktails. The Sidebar at Me and Ed's Coney Island Grill, now open in River Park.
I know how important some of this equipment for the farmers is. Without it, they can't get the job done.
That's Bob Aguirre, service manager at Pioneer Equipment Company.
My philosophy is get the tractor in and get it out as fast as I can. It's not supposed to be in the shop. It's supposed to be out in the field working.
Pioneer provides quality service for Kubota, Land Pride, and Nelson Equipment. Stop by and say hi at our Fresno or Reedley locations, and we'll get your equipment serviced right away.
This is a family-oriented business. It's been great working for Pioneer Equipment.
Visit pioneerequipmentca.com.
Celebrate America's birthday with the Fresno Grizzlies 4th of July celebration at Chuck Chansey Park. It's the hottest ticket in town, featuring baseball, food, family fun, and the largest fireworks show in the Valley, presented by Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino and ABC 30. Get your tickets now at FresnoGrizzlies.com before they're gone. This event will sell out fast. And don't forget, if you can't make it on July 4th, don't worry. There's an encore fireworks show on July 5th. Make your Independence Day unforgettable, only in downtown Fresno.
At Citizens Business Bank, we've been taking a personal approach to banking for over 40 years and are consistently recognized as one of the top performing banks in the nation. Hi, I'm Susan Woosner, Senior Vice President and Manager of Citizens Business Bank in Fresno. We believe in the importance of building long-lasting and genuine relationships with our customers. We want to provide you with the solutions you need to grow your business, because your success is our success. Citizens Business Bank, member FDIC.
Here comes that Fresno heat. Now's the time to make sure your AC is running correctly and ready for the Fresno summer. Luckily, Fresno has locally owned Lee's Air to make sure everyone is residing comfortably in their own homes. Staying out of the heat is much easier when you have the experts from Lee's Air keeping your AC running smooth throughout the grueling Fresno summer. Schedule your regular maintenance today to make sure you don't have any AC problems this summer at leesair.com. Lee's Air, your local comfort trusted experts. License number 635355.
What happens when your determination to advance your career meets online education? More than you ever thought possible. At Fresno Pacific University, we're committed to our mission. We're committed to you. That's why we're continually bringing new programs online. Complete your bachelor's or master's degree in a format that works for you. Discover what's possible at Fresno Pacific University. Learn more at online.fpu.edu.
All right, welcome back to Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader, back here again. All right, so we do a Flashback Friday. Every Friday we pick our best interview of the week here on the Friday show, and really good candidates for some good interviews. But the one I really enjoyed was the chat with Cam Braca, Fresno State football, of course. Cam, starting safety, but a local guy as well who grew up or at least played high school sports here as well. So you hear his story here next. Cam Braca from earlier this week on 1430. Cameron Braca in studio. How you holding up?
Yes, sir. I'm happy to be here. This was just kind of a dream of mine to be on the radio here locally playing for the Dogs. So just get to represent the Dogs, my family, my teammates. What more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for sure? And, of course, you got the local ties. You're the guy who really grinded it to this roster, and we got a lot – obviously you'd probably talk about with your journey, but it's interesting to hear you say this has kind of been a dream of mine to be on the radio, to talk about the Dogs, to talk about your season coming up, and be able to say you're a member of this team. How long have you been dreaming about that as a kid?
I mean, I can't really imagine. Every kid's dream is just to be on the radio, And so when I even got to tell my parents like this week or some of my loved ones, they were like, "What, the radio?" And so it's just so cool how big just being on the radio is, but just being able to play for the Dogs, how I just get this opportunity just to share who I am, my faith, my upbringing, and just get to hopefully inspire the people around me who are kind of on a similar track, especially being from here is just super cool that I just get to share about my story.
Absolutely, man, and it's been quite the journey for you. So, obviously you grew up here locally, Clovis area. You go to Buchanan, right? And superb athlete at Buchanan, but of course it's not the direct path to Fresno State. But take me back, when you first kind of fell in love with football, right? Because I got to imagine everyone has a moment where you're like, all right, yeah, this is going to stick for me. So what was that moment for you?
Yeah, I mean, growing up just me, I was the oldest brother, and, I was always, me and my siblings were all in a very competitive house, roughing up on each other, always having fun. And so my parents just gave it an idea. Hey, let's throw you in football. And we started flag football when I lived right outside Indianapolis. And so that was pretty cool to start to see. Peyton Manning was in his prime over there. and he turned into one of my heroes in my early football career. Obviously, everything they were doing. But then we started tackle football up in Roseville when we moved back out here to California. And the first year I was probably 60 pounds in third grade playing right tackle. And wasn't probably the spot for me, but I was gritty enough to make it happen. And all I was looking for on every play was to do what the coach asked me. And I looked to the sideline, and I'd either get a thumbs up from my dad or maybe a thumb sideways or thumbs down. And I knew I was doing a good job if I did. And so, me and my dad got to spend a lot of time when I was younger, driving to those games early mornings. Practice, he would always stay around, and man, just those little moments when we would get frozen yogurt on the way home, or just getting to spend time with him, and then my brother getting into it, it was just something we connected on a lot, and something I've cherished forever.
Absolutely. So, of course, moving around and stuff like that, sometimes that can be difficult on some kids, just trying to readjust and whatnot. But when you got here into the Fresno Central Valley, some people very much, they get used to the idea of how the valley kind of is and the way the valley goes. And when did you start realizing the way, the valley protects itself per se, when you got to Buchanan? You're like, all right, this is how the valley acts when it comes to this.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anyone that knows it to the best, it's definitely my mom. I mean, we're sitting in this studio, and I look across the street, and it's the high school she grew up at Bullard.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's a Bulldog through and through. Her grittiness, she was a cheerleader for the Dogs, grew up here, man, and she is one competitive lady. And so she always was just keeping us on our toes to understand how this place works. And even Buchanan, I mean, this place is so competitive, and you got to be on guard for that or it'll consume you. And so being able to have my parents lead me, Coach Giordano, during those early years as I was growing into a man in high school was huge for me. Coach Gutierrez was another guy who played in the NFL, Coach Vogt. And, I mean, that Buchanan staff and all my buddies, man, they just shaped me into who I needed to be to kind of get ready for all the pressures.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were some times where it could be a lot on a young kid playing at such a great program under such a great staff. But growing up at a competitive house, my siblings, just us always getting after it. I mean, this was what we were grown up to do, And so we just loved it, man.
Yeah. What's your proudest achievement from your Buchanan days? Do you think about a game you had, or do you think about some sort of award you got, or what's your proudest achievement in your mind?
I mean, so our Valley Championship game my junior year was an awesome time. I had been hurt all year and ended up starting to get some play into the playoffs of that year. And we were playing, obviously, a phenomenal Central team that was stacked year in and year out. You're talking about Ricky Correa. You got Jeremiah Hunter. You got Xavier Worthy, like guys just across the board. And so I got an opportunity to kind of go out there. After I hadn't had the best summer, I was bouncing in and out with the job, had got the job, lost the job. People were moved over me in the job. So it was a really discouraging year that was kind of like really tough on me, especially, being so surrounded with football at the time. I didn't have too much balance, And so to come through that year and be able to come into that game and have a huge role, me and my right-hand man, Hayden Peterson, dude, we both went for like 21, 20 tackles apiece.
Wow.
And he was obviously a stud. I mean, one of the best players I've played with. But my adversity that I faced that year to be able to go back out there, play with confidence. We came up short, so that was disappointing. But, man, to just have that game and just have everything that kind of had led up to that gave me a lot of confidence.
Certainly, confidence is key, especially for a kid who's, when you're getting through it, right? You're sitting there and you're wanting to know what your kind of future looks like, right? Especially, I know how that all comes up. You're like junior year, your parents are like, all right, what do you want to do? Right. What do you want to do with this, right? And when you started thinking, I think I want to try to pursue football at this point, the recruiting side of things and maybe seeing what you can do on the next level. What was that like? What was that grind like? And obviously you settled in at City, but tell me a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, it was a lot of question marks, especially going into COVID. In that last season we had with only 5 games, you kind of don't get the full senior experience that you want, especially the season. And I just didn't have that much film. My name was in the area because I played some good football, but I wasn't physically depart. Some would say I'm still not, but we're making it happen. But I honestly wasn't sure if I was prepared for that next level of football. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do with a career either, stepping out of high school. And so some of my buddies were like, hey, let's give the Rams a try. Coach Gio had obviously gone to Fresno City. And just to be able to continue to play with some of my buddies was kind of just something I was looking for in that kind of next step of life. And just being able to stay home for a few more years, kind of learn, mature, while being able to just continue to play football was actually huge for me in that process. So I wasn't looking for much, but found more than I ever wanted over at Fresno City. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So JUCO journey, right? And, you hear things like all conference and all state, and JUCO all state in California. That's got to be something, right?
Tough,
because
yeah.
That's a lot of people to beat out for that. But did you realize? When did you realize you knew you were like that kind of capable of a player to be a guy who'd be recognized at the state level, on the JUCO level? When did you realize I got a knack for this?
Yeah. I mean, going into JUCO, you think it's a lot sweeter and easier than it really is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of talented guys that wind up at those places. A lot of rosters are former D1 guys, and my ride with JUCO was tough. I battled a few injuries my first year. Was just going up and down again. Wasn't too sure if I wanted to keep playing. But towards the back half of that year, I started to actually find myself some really good playing time. We were playing a great team in San Mateo, who has a great squad year in and year out. And I ended up tallying up like 9 tackles. And the guys around me, the older guys, I was only a freshman, started to instill some confidence in me.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just took it off from there. I started playing really good ball my freshman year. And then my sophomore year, this is like the make or break year. And I ended up putting on like 20 pounds throughout that off season. And I was like, I going into that off season, I was like, listen, like I was like, Lord, I don't even know if this is for me, I don't know if I want to keep playing football. This is a commitment in junior college.
What was the hardest part about that with the commitment? Just life and
for sure life. On okay, Cam, you're playing football, but when are you gonna get your life started? Along with, can I really make something happen out of this? Is it fulfilling me? And when I look back, am I gonna little did I know I was gonna be playing for the Dogs. But what's the next step?
Yeah.
And so to put on all that weight and start to make some plays in practice, I was like, all right, man, here we go. I'm destined to have a good year. I just got to stay healthy. Started the first game, had a great game, and just continued to stack. I had another 20 tackle game week 2. And from there, my teammates were just following my lead. And I was like, here we go. Let's go.
You have such a knack at the position, right? The safety position that you play at. And when did that develop to you? Because people try it. You started as a right tackle in the youngster side of things. But when did you become a safety, and when did you kind of know this was the kind of position you wanted to be in?
So my second year, I started playing that, and really I was just flying around. Just run around. I was a fast kid and would just run the ball. But obviously, having Coach Giordano and Coach Gutierrez, 2 guys that played at Cal and played in the NFL, I mean, what more could I have asked for, in that moment? And just my biggest thing, one of my biggest attributes I hold myself on is just playing hard. And, I mean, what better spot can you play hard at? First, defense.
Yeah.
And secondly, safety, where you could just make so many plays across the field. And I give a lot of recognition to my sister, too, who plays soccer at Cal Poly. She's one of those mid-back, and that's in another sense almost like a safety for the soccer. And to watch her fly around and me fly around is pretty awesome to watch, and just to see how the games are so different, but how we can play together, and just the people who have helped me along the way. I think it just shows.
I'm just trying. I'm thinking about inspirations or who you kind of watch for from the safety standpoint. I wonder if he's a little too early for you. Maybe you remember him. I'm thinking of a cult great, Bob Sanders. I don't know if that's kind of the name I think of when it comes to that, or is there a guy you watched back in the day?
I haven't watched him too much, but I mean, Troy Polamalu.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I even watched Giordano's highlights when we were growing up. Eric Weddle's another guy. I mean, Buda Baker's a guy right now who flies to the ball on every play. And this guy's young, but Caleb Downs is all like a peer of mine, but one that is a phenomenal player. But I've watched more recent guys. I love to watch the corners because their athleticism, their technique is just off the charts. And if I can apply that technique to the safety position in part with my tackling, then that can give me some great attributes.
Tell me about the day Fresno State comes on your radar after your season at Fresno State, or whenever it was happening. When did Fresno State contact you?
Yeah, it was kind of out of nowhere, to be honest. You know, Coach Fred over at Fresno City had kind of reached out prior to the year, texted Coach JD, and was like, "Hey, man, like, you should probably keep your eye on this guy." And to hear that too was huge for me because I was like, that's been a dream for me. And like, if this coach believes in me, who has coached Jaden Pearson's guy on our team that Coach Fred coached and got him all over the place coming out of JUCO. So when that kind of hit and gave me the confidence to go in the year, then I had my year. I had a great year, and Coach C kind of just texted Tedford and was like, "Hey, man, I got this line of guys here. Who do you want to see?" And I was like, and Coach C calls me and he's like, "Hey, man, it's Tuesday. We're going over to Fresno State tomorrow, Wednesday morning. You're going to go through the coaching staff. You're going to meet Coach Tedford, everyone." And I was like, all right, here we go. I was like, I wasn't really.
It's not a job interview, but it felt like a job interview.
I know. I was like, okay, well, short notice, but I'll see you at 9 o'clock. I was going to pick him up, and we're going to be right over there. And
Bet you couldn't sleep the night before.
Oh, gosh, no. And I was telling my parents. My parents were excited. Everyone around me was stoked, and it happened fast. And it was like that Wednesday. Then we went through meetings, had a great time, and that weekend I was on their OV visit with some other high schoolers, and it was like, okay, that weekend, now a few weeks coming here in advance, like, is the point on whether you're going to go or not. And so everything was happening pretty fast.
Yeah, and it's such a whirlwind, right? And then you get the notification that, hey, we want you. We're offering you a spot on the roster, and that's got to be a thrill. So, but of course, nerves still come, right? And you get the first day of practices, right? And was there any guys you connected with, some guys you recognized from the team, or how did you ingratiate yourself in that roster?
Yeah, there was for sure some nerves, especially walking in, being from here, and I was walking on. So you can sometimes get some imposter syndrome, to be honest, with just like, hey, I'm here to play, but I'm here with all these JUCO guys. I'm a walk-on, but my mindset that everyone always instilled with me was, you know, just go out there. And I had a lot of confidence that I could go out there and play. But, you know, Steve Comstock was a guy. Me and Dean came in around the same time, and so that was amazing for, I know, me, hopefully him too.
Yeah.
You know, but to get to learn from him, even though he was new, he had so much experience at the place. Kosi, Krishan, Jaden Davis was a young guy, but he really brought me in and just his experience in the program. There was so many guys who just had experience at the program, knowing how that program runs so differently than all the other spots. But then you have guys like, I think like Lavelle, a guy I watched while I was at City, or Malachi, or Johnny Hudson, or Carlton Johnson. Like, these are guys that I, you know, admired while I was at Fresno City. Even Evan Williams, and now to be in the same room as them was like, this is awesome.
Right.
And the way they brought me in, you know, there was never like a moment that like it felt like I had been on that team all year.
Yeah.
And Carlton coming in and just recognizing the hard work I had put in and instilling confidence in me. That spring, he was confident that I was going to play that fall. And I'd be lying if I said had the same confidence. You know, I felt like I needed a development year. But guys like that who just stepped in and challenged me but also gave me confidence was just monumental, and my development so fast there.
When did you feel like the imposter syndrome went away for you? Or is it always still kind of in the back of your mind a little bit?
You know, honestly, yeah, it always can kind of hang in there with me, just with my path. You know, being so different, walking on, and I've always kind of been the underdog guy, but I've always just loved that, and I think that fits so well with playing for Fresno State, man.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into every game feeling like the underdog, and there was even times, like my first year, I played in a great room, a phenomenal room. And even my second year, I played in a phenomenal room. And we just had great guys everywhere. And, you know, me being the guy I am, too, like, I want my buddies who I've worked hard with to get their recognition, too, you know. And so I was just blessed that Coach Coyle saw that in me in such an early point, and Coach JD and Coach Nelson. But, you know, this new staff has done a great job with just, you know, helping elevate my confidence and what I can really do as a player. And so I'm happy to say that that's about gone for me, you know, but I always love to hang on to that a little bit just to be some motivation for myself.
For sure. Last year, I thought you were off to a blazing start with the defensive side, too. Yeah. I mean, the best game you ever had, tackle-wise, in the big house.
It was awesome, man.
Right? Take me through that game.
That was, I mean, I still get chills thinking about it. Like, that's one I will tell my grandkids about, like, my kids about, my friends about. But my mom's from Columbus. Okay. So there's always been some tension with the Wolverines. And so one of my best buddies, his favorite team is Michigan. And so there was a lot of intensity coming into this game. Obviously, you play the reigning national champs, and it's like, what an opportunity. But, of course, the nerves come with it, man. Like, especially my thought process and sometimes having that imposter syndrome, you know, you can have some doubt walking into such a big environment. But I had so much confidence in the work that me and that defensive group had put together all summer. The scheming we did, the sweat, the tears, the blood with Coach Ward, everything that we had sacrificed, you know, I knew it wasn't for just nothing. And just to be able to go out there with guys who I knew would just play fearless to have my back. I mean, as a member of a group, what more could you ask for with a guy just sacrificing everything for you? And so, man, we played some good ball that day. I had some great opportunities to make some plays, which was awesome. And just to have a moment, I had a moment with one of our strength staff, Coach Robbins, just to be able to be there and just have a moment to just pause and kind of reflect that we were really in the big house playing the reigning champs. And we took them wire to wire, man.
You were there in the fourth quarter, man.
We were there.
Yeah.
And to have them that close, you know, it's disappointing how the game slipped away. But to play how we did, you know, you just have a lot of pride leaving that stadium, you know, and to do it in front of your family, man, that was awesome.
Of course, you have the season-ending injury against New Mexico, and I know that was probably tough for you to know that the season had to wrap up for you. But to know you had probably the solace of saying, all right, there's another opportunity the following year for that. But how difficult was that in the moment? And then how quickly did you kind of move on and be a guy who can just be vocal to the guys that were on the sideline there?
Yeah, that was heartbreaking for me, man. It could just be taken away from you so fast. I knew once I went down with the injury that it was probably broken. But, you know, I know everything happens for a reason. The Lord has ordained everything since the beginning of time. And so I just continued to repeat verses in my head as I was walking off that field, honestly sobbing over the verses more than the injury, just knowing kind of where my path was trajectorying and how awesome this was going to be of a comeback story. But that was really tough to know all the work, like I talked about, that we put in that season with the seniors. And as a senior, you take so much pride in that. The relationships I had with Dean, CV, Cam Lockridge, Malachi, like the list goes on, and everything we did as a senior group, you know, all you want to do is succeed with those guys for all that you've done to build up to this. And so I tell you what, that senior night, man, I sobbed like a baby in that last meeting room. Just seeing every guy really come down the ramp for a last time was very emotional for me because I had such a love for the group, and I was just so grateful to be a part of it. And to not be able to finish it, you know, you feel like you let them down in a lot of spots. And so that was hard for me, but the coaches kept me involved, man, allowing me to travel every week, just be a voice to the guys was huge because those guys were my family, and just to be able to go through every week with them was awesome, but it was tough.
But now you've got some motivation, obviously, into this thing, and obviously you got JD back, which is great, and new coaching staff. What has stood out to you most about Coach Entz's style as a coach and the way you've interacted with him so far in the spring?
Yeah, having JD back was huge for us. And Coach Entz has done an unbelievable job, man. You know, you have a lot of pride for what you did last year. And, you know, even though we have a lot of joy in what we did, you know, we went 6-7 or something. And so it just wasn't good enough. And so the hardest part is, all right, now you got a new guy coming in who, in your mind, you think wants to flip everything upside down. But me and Coach Entz's first meeting, he's like, listen, man, I think you guys do a good job here. We just need to build upon it. And so to take what I had so much courage in and him to understand that and now want to build upon was huge for me as a leader and with the players. And so his transition's been unbelievable. It's almost felt too smooth, you know, and he's done a great job. We've got a lot of new faces, but it feels like this team, with how Coach Benedetto leads the defense and his family kind of atmosphere, how he leads his household as a father and a husband, you know, really molds to our group, and how we just have so much contagious energy and playing with so much joy for one another.
I felt that in the spring game.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. It's awesome. And to have the connections even across the ball this year maybe was something that we didn't have as much last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so now to have this full camaraderie that makes Bulldog football as special as it is, man. This is not a team of individuals. It's a full team effort. And so for him to bring his culture along with Fresno State, because it has its own unique culture, and we're all kind of continuing to learn that as a new group, but to bring the two together, I'm excited, man. It's going to be awesome.
August 23rd can't come soon enough,
Not
right?
at all.
That's exciting. At least you don't have to wait as long for the first game. Last question for you before we get going. How exciting. We found out you get another opportunity on national TV again, on Fox this time against Kansas. They're opening up their new house. You want to ruin the party, right?
Yeah.
How does it feel that's just a little over 2 months away?
I know. It's exciting, man, to know that we just get that opportunity. Week 0, all eyes are on the Dogs.
Yeah.
Everyone across the country, as we're a nationally staged team who rings noise around the country, along with our conference, are going to be watching us. And it's going to be a great opportunity for us to send a message early on what we built as a football team, but what we built as a family, and how we're ready to represent just the pride and tradition of what football is at Fresno State, along with, you know, my past teammates that I got to share the field with last year and the coaches to go on to kind of recognize them. I'm excited to take that step in honoring them.
Absolutely. We cannot wait. I have a lot of high hopes for this team, and I'm excited to see what you guys are going to be capable of this season. So
it's going to be great, man. Coach Entz has done a great job, and I'm excited to see everyone in that stadium again. It's been too long, man.
Right.
Got cut short for me. So
yeah,
I'm fired up to have this opportunity, and man, what a blessing it is just to be here in my hometown from my family.
Ready to run down that ramp August 30th against Georgia
up.
Southern. I'll be fired up. Cameron, I appreciate you taking the time as always. Good luck on the summer workouts.
Yes,
I know it should be a lot of fun, and we can't wait to see it in August.
It's going to be great. Go Dogs, baby.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back with more Behind the Bench right after this on 1430 ESPN.
No matter the time, morning, noon, or night, Black Bear Diner in Fresno has you covered. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner served all day just the way you like it. At Black Bear Diner in Fresno, you can count on them serving up hearty portions that satisfy even the hungriest appetites. Plus, the little Cubs can enjoy their brand new Cubs Corner too. So gather your family and friends, bring your appetite, and make it a meal to remember at Black Bear Diner in Fresno, corner of Shaw and Marty. Black Bear Diner.
Need cash? If you've got a car, we've got the cash. Clausen Honda wants to buy your car. If it's running, we want your late model Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, Subaru, Acura, or Honda. Just call Clausen and ask for our VUP to schedule your appraisal appointment. In just 10 minutes, you'll get your cash value quote. Yes, we are eliminating the hassle of getting rid of your used old car. So if you're ready to sell, we are ready to buy. Call Clausen Honda of Fresno today. If you've got a car, we've got the cash. Get cash for your car. Clausen Honda.
For nearly 20 years, Donald P. Dick has been the Valley's go-to expert for solar design and installation. And with their unique price match guarantee, they don't just match the competition, they beat it and give you the difference in cash. Install solar today and start saving money, including the 30% federal tax credits and the various incentive programs that are available when you switch to solar. For a no-obligation quote, call 255-1644 and put Donald P. Dick to the test.
Get your business noticed and stand out from the crowd by visiting MegaPrints. Working with the Valley's most prestigious and high-profile businesses since 1998, we print and install custom-designed signs for businesses of all types and sizes. From yard signs to banners to wallpaper and fleet graphics, MegaPrints has the state-of-the-art capability to turn the signage you've dreamed of into a reality. Visit megaprints.com today to see our work and what we can do for your business.
At FFB Bank, we believe banking is more than dollars and cents. It's about people. That's why we're a farming-focused bank for hard workers, a future-forward bank for big dreamers, and a family-friendly bank that actually knows your name. From your first loan to your biggest milestone, FFB Bank has the tools to help you chase your goals, crush them, and score big. Because your wins are our wins too. So what can FFB Bank do for your business? Find out at ffb.bank. That's ffb.bank. FFB Bank. Let's win together. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
For nearly 20 years, Donald P. Dick has been the Valley's go-to expert for solar design and installation. And with their unique price match guarantee, they don't just match the competition, they beat it and give you the difference in cash. Install solar today and start saving money, including the 30% federal tax credits and the various incentive programs that are available when you switch to solar. For a no-obligation quote, call 255-1644 and put Donald P. Dick to the test.
Hey Fresno, Chris Swart out here, operating partner Jack's Car Wash Companies, located on the southwest corner of Cedar and Shepherd. Don't miss out on this winning combo.
That's right, Jack's Car Wash has a brand new Pepsi and Coke soda fountain, plus a new Keurig coffee station featuring your favorite national brands. Plus, Jack's full detailing is backed by popular demand. Schedule yours today by calling 435-7335.
Jack's Car Wash and ESPN Fresno, the double play of a great car wash and a great broadcast. Let's go Giants!
All right, welcome back to Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader. Of course, we love those interviews. Cam Braca, big thanks for him for joining us earlier in the week. Of course, if you want to listen to any of those interviews live or on demand, go to the 1430 app, download it today, or 1430ESPNFresno.com. That is where you can reach us. All right, so we are just wrapping up this second hour, so we head into hour number 3. Of course, numerous things are going to be getting going here pretty soon here on the docket. Stanley Cup Final Game 5 or Game 2 starting at 5 is coming up as well. Also Texas Tech and Texas softball, which I have a countdown meter that is just ticked below 18 minutes here coming up as well. So those are the two notable things coming up here for the larger viewing audience. I'll start with the Stanley Cup Finals. Just some thoughts going into it, of course. Sportsbooks have adjusted the odd just a little bit. Oilers are now minus 130 to win Game 2. Panthers plus 110. I kind of like the Panthers to bounce back. I really thought that game was within the margins of it. It was between one or two plays all night. These teams evenly matched. I'm telling you, the Oilers feel like a step above, and maybe that's what it is, and that's where I led to it as far as Oilers at 7 in that situation. I'm now more feeling like Oilers in 6 if I had to change it, but this is going to be an interesting game tonight because it's interesting to see where the pressure can be in this series because, let's be honest, last year's series was, I felt, not a good litmus test on what these two teams are capable of when you battle in a regular series like this, because we saw Florida jump out to such a large lead that the Oilers had to get into survival mode and play at a crazy pace where they won Game 4, won Game 5, won Game 6, forced Game 7. Game 7 happened. I didn't feel like we ever got into the regular flow of an actual series in this. And so I'm curious if we get into that flow here tonight with the Stanley Cup Finals. It's a very daunting task for the Panthers already, because if you listen to these statistics, it's going to be really hard for them to bounce back. Winners of Game 1 in the best of 7 Stanley Cup Final has gone on to win the series 76.5% of the time. 65-20 in the series record. And this game one winner has gone on to win 10 of the last 13 Stanley Cups. That's including 4 straight. So history on the side of the Oilers. How about when you take a 2-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup Finals? Teams that have taken a 2-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup Finals 90.9% of the time. That's a 50 and 5 series record. They've gone on to win. Last time a team has blown a 2-0 series lead was the 2011 Vancouver Canucks over my Boston Bruins. Feel really good about that. So maybe that's maybe I want this series to go 1-1 so the Bruins can still remain to be that distinction. So I anticipate that over under 6.5 to go over tonight. I will pick the Panthers to win tonight. I think, like I said, it was a very 1 or 2 play kind of game last Wednesday, and I think the margins are really close between these teams. The Panthers have the pedigree, the Oilers have the talent, but the Panthers have the coaching, and the Oilers have the player. So I'm very interested to see what tonight will bring, and of course, it's coming up. Also coming up. We have, like I said, the Women's College World Series final as well, Game 3 in action. They're making their picks on the TV side as well. So blindly thinking about this here, I have been rooting for Texas to win this whole thing. That's kind of where I lay. Julia, I'll bring you on here for the last minute of this segment. Who is going to win tonight? I heard 3 Texas texts here from your Clovis North folks here that were in earlier. Are you agreeing with them, or do you feel like Texas has it tonight?
I feel like Texas has it tonight. I mean, this Texas lineup will have seen Nyjah Kennedy for the 3rd time in a row, whereas Texas hasn't thrown the same pitcher, and they're going to see Cavan again, and I feel like because of that, because they saw a different pitcher yesterday, they saw multiple different pitchers yesterday, it's going to be easier for them, and their lineup is going to start hitting off a Kennedy.
Because you feel like you can hone in 3 games in a row against the same pitcher, no matter how the caliber is. You can see what they are offering you more and more.
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, this Texas team is really good, and those girls are some of the best hitters you're going to see. And when they're seeing a pitcher for the 3rd time, no matter how amazing they are, they're going to catch up to that and make adjustments.
All right. I wish I could split screen here. I wonder if I can. I got to figure this out. But right now I have the World Series, Women's World Series on here, so we'll be paying attention to that. Maybe I'll have the hockey over here as well, just to kind of keep an eye on that as well. So, all right, end of hour number 2 is upon us. We are heading to hour number 3, and I got into a pretty significant argument with my friends about a certain topic we're going to bring up. And yes, it's going to involve our 5 at 5. So stay with us. You're listening to Behind the Bench here on 1430. Hour number 3 coming up next on 1430.
Fresno's flooded with junk removal companies. Most are slow, sloppy, or overpriced. Here's the difference. Everyday Junk Removal shows up, hauls fast, and gets out. Furniture, gone. Mattresses, gone. Construction debris, yep, gone. Dumpster rental, handled. Rated 5 stars on Google because they don't screw around. Right now, get $20 off a half load or more. Get your quote at everydayjunkremoval.com or give them a call at 408-9132. Everyday Junk Removal. Get through the clutter.
Warmer days and special occasions are on the way. Is your wardrobe ready? Jones Cleaning Center has you covered. Fast, reliable, and hassle-free. Use Fresno's only 24-hour self-service pickup and drop-off drive-thru. Drop off by 9 a.m. and enjoy same-day service at no extra cost. From suits to sundresses and comforters to table linens, they'll get it all fresh and ready. Jones Cleaning Center, Fresno's top dry cleaning and laundry service for over 55 years. On Palm, just north of Herndon in Fresno, or online at jonescleaning.com.
Summer is here in the Central Valley, and the action of Valley Athletics is where you want to be. Phil Benotti here to tell you about the big VBA All Skills Camp starting at the end of July. It's for 3rd through 8th graders to get in the fun and focus on the skills that it takes to be a top-notch volleyball player. Spots are limited, so be sure to sign up fast. Space is also available for the All Sports Camp as well. Basketball, volleyball, and pickleball, to name a few. All led by former collegiate and professional athletes. Just reach out for information at their website, valleyathletics.co. Valley Athletics, developing the athlete in everyone.
It's crunch time, and KFC's got the winning play. Right now, grab a 10-piece bucket of the Colonel's hot,
crispy fried chicken, thighs, and drumsticks for just $15.99. And if you're planning on feeding the whole team, make it a meal with sides and biscuits for just $10 more. That's big-time flavor without blowing the budget. So, whether you're watching the big game or feeding your starting lineup, this bucket brings home the W. No errors, no drops, just finger-looking good chicken from KFC, where every bite is a game changer.
The wait is over. Valley Pure presents Crazy Horse, the wild new flower from Cowgirl Cannabis. This isn't just a strain, it's an experience. Ready to get on the wild side? Then saddle up and ride with Crazy Horse. Available now only at Valley Pure. Bold, untamed, unforgettable. Don't just hear about it, live it. Get to one of Valley Pure's 5 locations and grab your Crazy Horse today. Cowgirl Cannabis. Blaze the trail.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started. Plus, 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, 0 heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. 0 heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Whoever it was that said rainy days are followed by rainbows and pots of gold definitely wasn't in the raisin business. Rain in the wrong place at the wrong time can be a disaster, a crop disaster, and a financial disaster. In short, it can mean there's no payday for all of your labor. Fortunately, it doesn't have to be that way. The solution? Crop insurance for raisins. Bowman & Associates, your local crop insurance specialist, has been writing raisin crop insurance for over 40 years. Bowman & Associates is one of the largest crop insurance agencies in the state and the nation. Call Roger, Kent, or Quinn Bowman today and let them design a policy customized to suit your individual growing needs. Time is running out to purchase raisin insurance. With the unstable weather patterns and the current low premium rates, now is the time to call Bowman & Associates at 499-2020. That's 499-2020.
Bowman & Associates, the crop insurance specialist.
License number OF64178.
Your home of the San Francisco 49ers. 1430 ESPN, the Valley's local sports leader, KFIG Fresno.
Sports Center. I'm Marty Hausberger. The French Open in final is set. Jannik Sinner, who beat Novak Djokovic in straight sets today, will battle defending champ Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz advanced when 8th seed Lorenzo Musetti retired with a leg injury, down 2-1. Now, after his match, with his gestures, Djokovic seemed to indicate that may be it for him and the 38-year-old at the French. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final about to get underway. Edmonton hosting Florida, up 1-0. All-star right-hander Corbin Burns of the Diamondbacks set to undergo Tommy John elbow surgery, ending his season early in the first year of a $210 million 6-year contract. Manager Torey Lovallo said today the surgery probably would be scheduled for next week. Tampa Bay beat Miami 4-3 for their 4th straight win. The Marlins have lost 5 in a row. Yankees are up on Boston 5-0. Jazz Chisholm with a 3-run homer and Anthony Volpe a 2-run shot. They're headed to the bottom of the 2nd in the Bronx. ESPN sources say the Knicks hoping to talk to Mavericks coach Jason Kidd about replacing Tom Thibodeau. ESPN NBA reporter Tim McMahon with the latest.
To ask for permission, they would have to be granted permission to interview Jason Kidd, to make any sort of an offer, certainly. We will see. There's an anticipation we'll get to the point of them requesting permission. We will see if the Mavericks would grant that. They are under no obligation to do so.
McMahon says the Knicks are doing their due diligence on Kidd and other candidates.
What's up, kiddos? Clinton Yates here. Coming up on Monday, the NBA Finals roll on, and we'll update a pivotal Game 2 between the Pacers and the Thunder. Plus, we'll get you caught up on what you might have missed from the weekend. That's Monday on Clinton and Friends at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
He's got the knowledge.
Because once again, I have to come on there and talk about how right I am once again. In anything that it comes to sports.
He's got the questions.
I'm going to lose it. Are you kidding me? What are we doing here?
He's got the guests.
The 20th head coach in Fresno State history here, Matt. It's
Is it hard to believe sometimes still the 20th head coach here in program history?
It's all moved really quickly here over the course of the last 5-6 weeks. But super excited to be here.
Phil Benotti is the voice for the Central Valley sports leader. Behind the Bench starts now. Brought to you by Helena Agri.
That's right. Hour number 3 of Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader. 5 o'clock hour here on the work, getting themselves ready for the weekend. We are your portal to the weekend, getting you ready for it as always, and we appreciate you listening wherever you're listening. Reminder, of course, you can follow us on the 1430 ESPN Fresno app, 1430ESPNFresno.com website as well, and also our 1430 or our ESPN Fresno. I think ESPN Fresno socials as well. We still are live streaming here on Facebook and on Twitch as well. We will be live streaming on YouTube somewhere down the road as well. But we want to see if you can subscribe to our YouTube page, ESPN Fresno. Just what you search. That is exactly what you search to get us on the YouTube as well. So, got a lot to talk about still here in this hour because we got plenty to get into. This is kind of where I feel like the show can get a little unhinged sometimes, where things can kind of come with the arguments and all that stuff. And I feel like this is the best part of the show. I'm the most excited about it because it's my 5 at 5 coming up. But I geared around it because we were talking about this earlier in the office, and we have Tanvir and Julia here as well. So last night I saw something on social media that I shared in a group chat with friends because, of course, that's how it all begins for everybody when it comes to points of argument. I thought this wouldn't be a whole big argument, but I saw something on Twitter that said had a whiteboard in a bar, I think, and it had either yes or no as an answer. And the question simply says, will you beat Saquon Barkley in a race for 100 yards if you had a 15-second head start? And this sparked all kinds of different answers that a lot of people exchanged. I, for one, was unsure of whether yes or no was the correct answer. I needed data. I need to figure it out. But also, I don't know if 100 yards is a long way. So where I settled on it was probably not, because by the time I would hit yard 80, I'm starting to die. So I'm trying to wonder if that's going to be the case when it would face Saquon. Of course, we tried to do the math, figure out how long it would take Saquon Barkley to go 100 yards. I think I settled at around 16 seconds because I feel like there's going to be a little bit of limitation towards the end as far as just testing for drag and or him just, slowing up, because 100 yards is a long time to go full tilt. You can't just math it out, whereas a 40-yard dash was. He runs his 40 in that time because that's what he does. So some of my friends said no. Some of my friends said yes. Then it sparked conversation of who else we could beat in a race in that simple form fashion. But I'll invite the conversation here because I brought it up to Julia here and I brought it up to Tanvir here. We're hanging out before the show. Let's start at the crux of the thing. I'll ask this. Julia, do you think you could beat Saquon Barkley if you had 15-second head start?
Absolutely not. There's just no way.
And then Tanvir comes in, and without any prompting, what did you say?
I mean, I said yes, but I'm a soccer player. I'm a midfielder. I run long distances normally when I used to play, so I feel like I can do it.
Okay, so we have both camps here. Of course, I'm sitting here thinking, like, then I could also ask the question of how many seconds would you need to beat Saquon Barkley in a head start? That's the other question we can invite as well. But Tanvir, explain to me why you think you can beat Saquon. Like, what? Because you have to make the calculus here. You know, you have your physical attributes to what you need to do there,
right,
but also, like, how close is it? Do you think 15 seconds is like making it a close race? Where are you at with it?
I think 15 seconds is honestly the minimum that I could probably have. Like, anything less than that is cutting it a little close, in my opinion. I still think Saquon Barkley would be able to cover an insane amount of ground by the time I get those 50 seconds over with. But I think I believe in my abilities. I think I'm going to be able to. But it all depends, you know. Depends on the person.
But when's the last time you've actually sprinted 100 yards before?
Oh, yeah, 100 yards, nah. But, I mean, I don't know. I just think I have the ability to do it. Maybe that's lunacy on my end, but
that's the thing. And this is why we're asking this, because, yeah, You're like, yeah, okay, I can think. But then you think about it, I'm like, when's the last time you actually legitimately, rushed 100 yards down a field? Julia, you're in the no camp, and I think I'm kind of leaning towards your side. But just explain for the audience why you feel like no is the right answer here.
So, first of all, for me, I'm 5'2".
Yeah.
So, there's just no way on that end, like, physically wise.
The strides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, if you're tall, maybe. If you're tall and you were, like, a sprinter in high school and did long-distance sprinting, maybe.
Yeah.
Or even in college if you were a sprinter. But
Yeah.
anyone else, I think there's no way.
Do you think, average Joe, no chance? Do you think, the average Joe out there, no chance they get a chance to beat Saquon?
Yeah, I think no chance.
You
Unless
think,
you're extremely talented and you never used it.
Yeah.
Until now.
Yeah. Is it the sprint? That's the hardest part. Like, who's it working against? Like, I'm thinking of the sprint, the 100-yard sprint. Nobody does that. Like, I'm trying to think of anybody doing a 100-yard sprint. When's the last time you've sprinted 100 yards before?
In high school for softball.
Yeah.
But it was not easy. I mean, after you get to so many yards, you're tired.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I think I sit in the no camp as well. But then, like I said before, it invited the question of let me go to this. How many seconds do you need a head start to then say I can comfortably beat Saquon Barkley in this race? Do you have an answer to that, Julia? Or do we need to come up with a formula to figure this out? Like X plus whatever equals whatever to figure out.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a formula. I mean, like I said, I'm 5'2", and like it's Saquon Barkley.
What if I gave you 30 seconds?
I think I could put up a good fight.
Yeah.
Maybe with some training.
Yeah.
Give me like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then I'll get there, but not right now in this moment.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's see what I wanted to gear towards as far as that's concerned with the average speed here. I came up with a list of players, and I decided I changed my own rules. I was going back and forth whether I wanted former players or not. I went to current NFLers. I went to current NFLers that I think I can beat in these circumstances. Give me a 15-second head start. I can beat them. And let's be honest, there's one athlete I legit believe I can beat dead on who is currently active in the NFL. And maybe that's my hubris, but that's where I'm at with it. So, without further ado, we are going to run the Phil's 5 of 5 here, and we'll get it rolling.
5 at 5 with Benotti is brought to you by FFB Bank. Family-friendly banking. What does FFB mean to you?
I kind of just went on this as the ASA rule was concerned. Vibes. I went on vibes as far as that's concerned, but also there's certain body types. I tried not to do like every single offensive lineman out there because I think that's cheating. I do have a few. So this is going to be an interesting list. I don't know if you have some entries into this as well, Tanvira, Julia as well, in the NFL side of things, but I don't know. Any strategy to this before you guys get started on this, or we'll just go read and react, right?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go. Number 5.
Number 5.
Aaron Rodgers is my number 5, and simply because maybe it's because I'm picking him because he's old. Maybe I'm picking him because he's slow. Maybe I'm picking him because I think this would be great television because that's simply for my ego. I would love to beat Aaron Rodgers in that fight. Plus, also, it's NorCal guy versus NorCal guy. It's fine. Chico versus Brentwood. Let's go. So, Aaron Rodgers, I think I could definitely beat him. Maybe not 25-year-old Aaron Rodgers, but 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I'm feeling good about that opportunity. And let's just also say this. For the parameters of the race, they don't need to be wearing pads. I don't need to be wearing pads. We're going straight at it. Aaron Rodgers, I think I could do it in that opportunity.
Yeah, new Steelers signee. I think he's definitely getting a little, gray in the hair. His legs might not be holding up as much as it used to. I definitely remember prime Aaron Rodgers was very underrated as a runner, but now I think for sure, I think you have something there.
Absolutely. What about you, Julie? I think you feel like you're I get a sense you're an Aaron Rodgers defender. Do you think he's beaten me in a race?
I am not an Aaron Rodgers defender.
I thought I heard you were there. Okay, never mind. I mischaracterized you. I apologize.
No. I'm thinking right now, and I think I could beat Aaron Rodgers right now.
Okay.
41
Sounds
years
good.
old, yeah.
All right, let's go to number 4.
Number 4.
I had to get a kicker in here. I had to pick a kicker, and I'm picking. Look up a picture of this guy because I don't know if you guys know him or not. I'm picking the former Patriot, Joey Sly, from last year, now currently Tennessee Titan. And if you look at his build, I think he's built to, swing golf clubs very well and kick balls very well. But I don't think he's built for speed. He is very built. But I don't think Joey Sly can beat me in a race when it comes to that. So I am going to pick him number 4. This is me and my own personal pick. Let's be honest, if I wanted to go here locally as well, Jake Moody. I would pick Jake Moody as my kicker as well. But I'm going Joey Sly here as well. Any opinions on Joey Sly?
Joey Sly was on the Commanders last year, correct?
Patriots.
Or the Patriots last year? Okay.
But he was a former Commander.
He was a former Commander, right.
Yeah.
So, that kicking is definitely one of those things where the running doesn't necessarily matter.
No.
I think as a 49ers fan, I would probably beat Jake Moody out of spite for what he's done to us these last couple of years. So there's definitely some things I need to bring up to him when I am doing these races against him.
I'm feeling old man Nick Folk as well, potentially, or anything like that. But also, I worry that my hubris will get to me because these kickers are former soccer players, and maybe that's also an issue I might be running up against. Now I'm realizing I may make a poor choice. Julie, am I making a poor choice here?
I think a kicker is a smart decision because they're not practicing running. They're not training running.
Yeah.
So you might have a good shot against a kicker.
Okay. We'll see.
Number 3.
I'm going to pick Big Bad Trent Williams. This is my one and only offensive lineman picker, but also just purely at the sense that having Trent Williams chasing me down would allow me motivation to run faster because he is a big and scary man. So I'm picking Trent Williams. I feel like he's a little older side. I can do it. He's going to be moving fast. Trent's got a good 40 time, I think I remember, as an offensive lineman. So we'll see how it goes. But this is my one lineman entry. So I'm going to pick him. And I feel pretty good about it. Just simply on the fact that my fear for my life of him chasing me down will allow me to run faster and win that race.
At first I wasn't really, thinking that was a good choice, but you brought it around. I think definitely him chasing me would be something. I was thinking more of like a guy like Tyron Smith, a little bit of an older guy. But yeah, Trent Williams for sure. That man chasing you, there's going to be an instinct that kicks in where you're probably going to start running faster than you actually can.
Yeah. What about you, Julia? Big offensive lineman Trent Williams from the Niners. Scary man.
Yeah, I think if a scary man was chasing me, I think I could do it as well.
The motivation is what it is. Key to all athletics.
Number 2.
All right, I'm picking him simply because I think he will actually not finish the race because he's running too fast, and that's Kirk Cousins. Simply because I think his Achilles would pop all the way through, so halfway through. Maybe mine would pop as well, but if we both pop our Achilles, at least I feel like I can crawl faster than him as well to get to the 100 yards finish. So Kirk Cousins is my entry here at number 2, and quite simply, just simply on the fact that I was going for comedy there. And the injury of the Achilles as well. What about Kirk Cousins? Come on,
dude. I think Kirk Cousins is one of the. I don't know if you pay attention to it, but he's one of the funniest strides I think of any quarterback that I've ever seen, and it's just not conducive to having some speed going down the field. So Kirk Cousins, yeah, for sure, not the fastest guy that is on the football field.
Yeah, as a Vikings fan, former Viking, I think I could beat him.
Yeah.
There's always something going on with him. So
I just like the scenario of us popping our Achilles and then it's having to crawl the last 20 yards, like army crawl, and drag our feet all the way to the end. I'm like, we're doing this. We're finishing up. Kirk Cousins at number 2.
Number 1.
And this is my number 1. This is the one I'm serious. I legit believe I could probably beat him head on head. And I'm judging this solely based off of pictures I've seen this offseason because he looks exactly like me. And I'm picking Travis Kelce. I'm thinking Travis Kelce right now. And I am telling you, this man is looking like me out there. And it's making me feel confident that I could take a shirt off here once in a while. Kelce, I could probably beat him in a race, let's be honest. And let's just take this now. This is a direct challenge to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, I'm sure you're listening. I'm challenging you to a 100-yard dash race. We'll see how it goes.
Taylor Swift is feeding that man good, isn't she? So
she's feeding him.
I mean, hey, Travis Kelce, I think definitely in his prime, one of the faster guys out there, regardless of position. But yeah, hey, I think you got it, honestly.
Yeah. You're not just pumping me up here, man?
Nah. This is factual. This is definitely going to happen, in my opinion.
Julie, you have any opinions on my number one pick here, Travis Kelce?
Yeah, I agree. I think you could beat him.
Yeah?
Not in the past, but now those pictures.
You've seen the pictures, right?
I've seen the pictures. They're a little interesting.
Yeah. Man with confidence, that's for sure. So Travis Kelce, my number one.
That was Phil's 5 at 5.
I feel better about this. I feel really good. I think we may have some content coming next week. We'll see. So we may have to formulate that. Yeah, if you're going to want to watch that, that's going to be on our socials on ESPN. All right, stay with us. We got another schedule draft to do. The Rams schedule draft is coming up next on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader.
Hey guys, Phil Benotti here to say a big thank you to all that participated in our Student Athlete of the Week program. It has been an amazing year of sports, and we have seen some fantastic achievements in and outside of the classroom. We want to thank all of our sponsors throughout the season, including a big thank you to the Fieldhouse, who is hosting this year's Student Athlete of the Year banquet. Be sure to swing by the Fieldhouse for all their daily food specials Monday through Friday. Student Athlete of the Week will return next season. We look forward.
To buy your car. If it's running, we want your late model Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, Subaru, Acura, or Honda. Just call Clausen and ask for our VUP to schedule your appraisal appointment. In just 10 minutes, you'll get your cash value quote. To sell, we are ready to buy. Call Clausen Honda of Fresno today. If you've got a car, we've got the cash. Get cash for your car. Clausen Honda.
My husband and I have worked hard to generate wealth. Now we want to enjoy it, not work hard to manage it. We have to log into too many websites and call too many people to keep track of everything. We want to simplify, view and manage our assets in one place, and make one call if we have changes or questions. We're looking for an experienced financial advisor who can give us that and keep a watchful eye on our money while we're tasting wine in Napa or Paso.
Sounds like you're looking for Thiessen-Duker Modern Wealth Management. Our technology allows you to see all your accounts and how they're doing in one place. And our advisors are well-versed in helping clients in your position. We can even coordinate with your CPA and tax attorney to help keep them on the same page for you. So the only call you'll have to make is Napa or Paso. Visit Thiessen-Duker.com to learn more about Thiessen-Duker. We look forward to hearing from you.
The advisors of Thiessen-Duker Modern Wealth Management are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Hey guys, it's Phil Benotti with Behind the Bench, here to tell you about my friends at Clovis Truck Center. Remember, summer is right around the corner, and you need to be ready for all the fun that you can have on the road. Talking all the towing that you need, whether it's for boats or RVs. Also, you're probably wondering if you have enough room to transport that summer outdoor equipment. Clovis Truck Center offers roof rack solutions, not just for trucks, but for cars and SUVs as well. You can find them just south of the Clovis Rodeo Grounds out there in Old Town Clovis. Clovis Truck Center, the first, the biggest, and still the best in the Central Valley.
The Fashion Furniture experience includes all of the latest innovations in youth furniture, from bunk beds to homework desks, storage to study. It's the most imaginative use of space you've ever seen. If you're looking for youth furniture options, check out the Kids World collection at Fashion Furniture. There's nothing like it in all of California. On El Paso across from River Park.
Take me out to the ball game.
Baseball is back, and it doesn't get any better than the Fieldhouse Sports Bar and Grill, indoors or on the patio. Root for your team while enjoying their famous burgers, dogs, and fries. And did you know they have the coldest beer in town? No, seriously. With 16 draft beers on tap, served in an ice-cold pint, it'll sure get you cool for the summer. The Fieldhouse Sports Bar and Grill. Food, sports, fun. On Copper Avenue at the entrance to the beautiful Copper River Ranch.
I make sure that we have plenty of parts for the service department and the customers in the front counter.
That's Al Carmona, parts manager at Pioneer Equipment Company.
A lot of farmers come in, they know what they want, and if they don't, we try to help as best as we can.
Pioneer carries a wide selection of Kubota, Land Pride, and Nelson parts. Stop by and see us in Fresno or Reedley. We'll get you a cup of coffee and the parts you need.
We have really good customers. Pioneer Equipment's a great place.
Visit PioneerEquipmentCA.com.
All right, welcome back to Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN. Hour number 2 of our show. All right, after further discussion, I had Paul Betters was here earlier. He was talking about how average person can range in a 100-yard dash to 14 to 17 seconds. So a 15-second head start for 100 yards for the average person feels like enough to beat Saquon Barkley. But I don't know. We're not average, I guess we would say. So anyways, that's how it's going. All right. We have our schedule draft here next. And what we do with the schedule draft, of course, is, we talk about all of the games we have on our slate. We take a team schedule. We decide if we are going to pick what games we're going to pick. You're going to pick them based off of how well you think the other team is going to do on the game that they have as far as that's concerned. I apologize. My headset is actually killing me. There's like a buzz in my ear that's like destroying me on my left side. So we'll see if I have to get that fixed. But anyways, so we have our schedule draft. We did it Wednesday with Fresno State football. We're doing it now with the LA Rams. So let me get this set up. But Tanvir and Julia are going to be participating in this again. And you all enjoyed the last time we did this, but now I'm curious, now that you have an understanding of the strategy of a little bit, is there a little bit of a different way you're going about it now with this Rams schedule draft coming up?
I think on the NFL side of things, I definitely understand the matchups a little bit better than I would with college football. College football, I think, is a little bit more random sometimes with the matchups. I think with the NFL, you generally will get teams that have the better rosters, generally win games. And so I know that kind of burned you last year with that Cardinals game. But I think that if you pick the right opponents, I think you're probably going to win these kind of things.
Julia, what about you and your approach?
Yeah, I feel like the NFL is a little bit different from college. And so with the Fresno State schedule, I just kind of went a little crazier and put some more out there picks. But this one, I think I'm going to be more logical, because that tends to be the way it is with the NFL.
Sweet. All right. I'm just getting the sheet together. How do we want to order the pick this time? Do we want to go Tanvir first this time? Because Tanvir, you went last this time. How about we change it up here? Tanvir first, me second, then Julia third, and then the next time we do this, we'll go.
I'm down for that.
We'll do that.
Yep.
So let me see if I can situate this here in a certain way. So Tanvir 1, then me, then Julia. Does that feel like a fair order? Any objections, Julia?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Let's get rolling here. We're going to go snake draft order here. 15 games on the board. We will have 2 that are left over. And I am including both the home and away options for each of these division games. So you can specifically pick the home and away versions of the Niners, Cardinals, and Seahawks games. So without further ado, Tanvir, what is, in your mind, the easiest game on the Rams schedule?
I think when I was looking through this list, it was kind of difficult because you don't really know how the new AFC South teams are going to come through this year. But there was definitely one game that really caught my eye. It's right after the bye week. It's the New Orleans Saints at home. The Saints had a porous run defense this year, or last year, excuse me. And honestly, with Derek Carr retiring and that quarterback room not being very good at all, in my opinion, with Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. Shout out my boy Jake Hayner, though, from Fresno State. We'll see how he gets implemented this year. But, I think the New Orleans Saints game, it's a home game right after the bye week. When they come back from London, I think this is going to be a solid pick that Kyron Williams is going to absolutely dominate in.
I think that's a pretty solid pick. I think we all can agree that probably is a really a solid one for the Rams. Home, easy, on a bye. Saints don't have a lot going for them. That makes a lot of sense. Here, for me, I will pick another home game. I'm going to pick home Indianapolis. We're already hearing reports of Anthony Richardson's shoulder being an issue potentially. Who knows who will be playing quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts by September 28th. Feels like that franchise is really on the downturn. Feel pretty good about that. The Rams could be coming off a really tough game in Philly, and it's ahead of a short week, so that makes it a little nervous for me. But other than that, I think I like the options here with them playing Indy. I'm going to have them at home against Indy as my next pick, so that's where I'm at. Julia, you're up.
I think I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Okay. Which Cardinals game are you picking?
I'm going to go with the home game.
So the final week of the year, the home Cardinals game, final week of the season.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good game. I mean, they played them pretty close last year, but I mean, I think the Rams are going to pull it out. It's last week of the season. I think they're going to try and get that win. Shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, it could be for the division, or at least the Rams could clinch a division out that way. Cardinals, it's just not you've seen the Cardinals firsthand. A team that flashes but then just kind of fades after a while, right? So
for sure.
I'm sure Cardinal fandom's not feeling too great. What about your next pick here? Yeah, you got the turn here, Julia. Yeah, you have the turn here. So you get two back to back.
Ooh, okay. Let me think for a second here.
Yeah. It's interesting because this schedule feels a little more like that Fresno State schedule, a little bit flatter as far as that's concerned. There are some peaks here as far as toughness is concerned, but there's a lot of the similarities in my mind in this schedule. So you got a pick here, Julia, in your mind?
I think I'm going to go with the Jaguars.
Ooh, the London game.
Yeah.
In London at Jaguars on October 19th. Why are you going with the London game?
I think it's just interesting, and I think that the Rams will be the home team, and I think that they're just going to go out there and want to get that win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Stafford versus Lawrence, I think that's going to be a pretty interesting game.
Rams were incredibly successful. I think they beat the Bengals. Cooper Kupp, I think, had an incredible fantasy day that day, if I'm not mistaken. I think I only remember it because I had Cooper Kupp that day in fantasy and daily fantasy. So good pick, Julia. Jaguars in London. That'll be interesting. I'm going to pick at the Titans. Week 2. I'm nervous about this one. Let's be honest. I thought this would kind of be the number one pick off the board, but I do worry just kind of on a week 2 letdown thing going on. Tennessee, this is one of those spots where the Rams don't start off great traditionally the last couple of years. And so I worry this is a game that can look ahead at the Philadelphia game that could worry me for the Rams, but it's a caliber of opponent thing. That's where I'm going with it and picking this game against the Titans. But I think that's where I have to go here. Last time, though, I picked a week 2 road game, yielded minus 31 points to me for the Cardinals. So last year, so I'm not feeling too. I feel okay about it, but I'm we'll see how it goes. Where are you at, Tim? You got 2 picks now.
Yeah. So my next pick, I'm going to go with the Week 14 game at Arizona. The reason why I actually prefer this game to the Week 18 game for Arizona is I think the Rams will probably already have a playoff spot locked in by Week 18, and so they might not have anything to play for at the end of the day. And so I understand what did happen last year, but I think the Rams will use that as fuel this year going into Arizona. I think that the Cardinals have kind of been a thorn in their side in Arizona, but they're going to be coming off of a game against Carolina. Coming off of the East Coast, I understand that's a little bit difficult traveling all the way back west, but I think that they can really get something done in that game.
All right, you got the turn here, so you got another one.
So with my next pick, there's 2 games that I'm really looking at. I think I'm going to go with the second to last week of the season. It's going to be a Monday Night Football game at Atlanta. I think that Atlanta's pass defense is absolutely horrendous, and now you have Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams both on the roster. Matt Stafford coming back for another year. I think that they have a real opportunity to exploit this pass defense and really put some points on the board against this team, especially in a game that may, show what seed they are within the division. Or within the conference, I should say.
Atlanta's interesting, and who knows if Penix is good? Who knows if Penix is bad? Who knows what's going to go on with that? Who knows if it's Kirk Cousins trying to save the season if Penix is down and out? Interesting pick there. I'm going to pick the Seattle game in SoFi simply for the Cooper Cupness of it. There will be emotions, but I think the Rams are going to handle it well. It's in the middle of the season. They're coming off the bye week. They play well at home against the Seattle Seahawks usually, and I'm very excited to see what they can do against Seattle. It's interesting because we saw both Cardinals games come off the board. I could be convinced that Seattle is actually worse than Arizona in that side of things, but there's a situation where I could see that happening. And I'm curious to see what the emotions will be like that game. I'll take the emotional variance of it. I'll take the Seahawks against the Rams in week. I don't know what week that is, but November 16th it is. So it's up to Julia now, who's got 2 picks in a row here.
All right, I think I'm going to take week 11 versus... Wait, what?
Did you pick week 11? Is that the Seattle game I picked?
Oh, sorry. Me and Tanvi are going back and forth.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think I'm going to take the 49ers.
Okay. Which game?
At home.
The home Thursday night game?
Yeah.
October 2nd?
Yes.
All right.
I'm feeling a little...
I like that pick.
I like this pick. I think that these teams have a lot of... They go back and forth. They have a lot of... What's the word? Like...
Tension?
Yes, tension. They have a lot of tension, and so I think that this will be a really good game, and you're going to have a lot of fans from both the Niners and the Rams, and so...
Short week, but the Rams have handled it better than most when it comes to short week games like that, and that can tell you a lot about what the Rams are going to be looking at as far as their schedule and season is going to go. So that's an interesting one. You got another here.
All right, these back-to-backs, they kill me. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with week 1 with the Texans.
Texans versus the Texans. All right.
It's at home, and I think that they're going to come out really strong, especially after last season. I think that this will be a good game, and I think they're going to pull out the win in week 1.
I think they're happy to not be in primetime week 1, as they have for the last couple of years, including the emotion of playing in Detroit again after just losing to them 2 years ago. Texans are just never, that good in my mind. I don't know. I'm very curious to see where it is, but I think this is a perfect week 1 opponent for the Rams. I think that's a good choice. I think there's a clear one I need to pick here that's left. I'm going to pick the game in Carolina. I know a lot of people are a little, I would say, feeling a little bullish on the Panthers after what we saw maybe towards the tail end of everything. But I will say, even in that aspect, the Rams are, in my opinion, maybe the second best team in the NFC. And if you're going to be the second best team in the NFC, you'll beat teams like the Carolina Panthers. I do respect the idea of what the Panthers could become this season, but I'm not there quite yet to say that the Rams would drop a game like that, especially coming off of what I believe is a tough game against Tampa the week before on a Sunday night. So give me the Panthers. Rams also do very well on the road on the East Coast under Sean McVay. A lot of good statistics on that side of things, so I trust that process as well. So, Tanvir, you got 2 picks left, and your last 2 picks.
Yeah, now we're getting into teams that are really have a chance to, score a lot of points either way. I'm gonna go late in the season again, and I'm gonna go with the game at Seattle, the Thursday night game right after Detroit. I know last year's game at Seattle was actually pretty crazy. This is a Thursday night game coming off of a Detroit game the week before. So I just think that out of all the teams remaining, I think this is the one team that I think the Rams will probably have the biggest chance to kind of make a blowout in or even win in, right? Because I think the rest of these games are a little bit more difficult. So beyond that, the next game, I think I'm going to have to – it's tough for me to go against my own team, but I'm going to go with the game at San Francisco.
At the 49ers.
San Francisco is very there's going to be a lot of variance in what happens for this team this year. Coming off of an injury-riddled season with a lot of people leaving. You have Greenlaw gone. You have new faces in there like a Nick Martin replacing him. it's kind of sink or swim for the 49ers in terms of those rookies because they're going to have to start early. I think the interior of this defensive line, the defensive line as a whole, has improved. But I still think that with the lack of Charvarius Ward, who also left, and Talanoa Hufanga, who left in the offseason, I think those young guys could possibly get exposed in this passing game. And so that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the game at San Francisco, coming off of hopefully a big win against New Orleans.
Yeah. There's only an interesting few games left here, taking an assessment. And so you're trying to avoid high-scoring teams that could blow it out for you and versus teams that are going to be probably potentially playoff teams. Let's go with, I would say, the one where I think the Rams have the best rest advantage in. And I know this is kind of a scary prospect to say because this team can also explode, but this team can also get in their own way offensively. I'll take a chance. I'm going to take the game at Baltimore because the Rams are coming off of a mini bye when they play the 49ers on Thursday night. They're going to be a little rested. Once again, East Coast statistic, going to the East Coast. I think they'll handle this game. I think they'll come up for this game as well. They usually do. And so I feel like the Ravens game is where I'm going to lean here in this pick, and that'll be my fifth and final pick. So, Julia, let's just lay the land here before you make your final pick. Here are the 3 games remaining that we have on the Rams schedule that only one you will pick. We have at Philadelphia week 3. We have home Tampa Bay in November 23rd on a Sunday night, and we have the Detroit Lions game in December 14th. So who are you picking in the final game of our scheduled draft here?
I'm going to take the Buccaneers.
Okay.
They both have high-scoring offenses, and so I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think that the Rams could pull away at the end, so that's why I'm taking that game.
I was looking saying this is going to be the best game of the year in SoFi. I would believe watching all these games. I know people are hyped up on the Detroit matchup, but I legitimately cannot wait to see what Baker Mayfield, that Buccaneers offense, what it can do against this Rams defense and this kind of matchup, because I think this is going to be a really exciting matchup between offensive minds. And legitimately, I'm glad they put it on Sunday Night Football as well. Prime time for the Rams usually shows up at this time, although last year at this time they put the Eagles there in that stadium, and Saquon did what he did. So fascinating. So we end up with 2 games unpicked. Philadelphia on the road in week 3 and then home against Detroit. Are we surprised about that, or do we feel like that was kind of the consensus 2 games that were above and beyond for the Rams here?
I think the Detroit game probably would have been picked not only because it's a home game, but also, as Julia said about the Tampa Bay game, both these teams are high-powered offenses. I thought the Baltimore game was going to be the one that's also left off the board. It's a road game. I understand they have a Thursday night game before, so it's a little bit more rest. But yeah, I am surprised. The Philly game, I think the only basis that you could pick the Philly game off of is just, revenge. I think that team is stacked. They have a lot of good players. They had a good draft, Jahad Campbell coming in. So I think that team is going to be as good as they were last year. And so I'm not surprised that the Philly game wasn't picked. The Detroit game, even though Detroit's a very good team, I thought that was a little bit of a surprise over the Baltimore game.
I always look at the Detroit team, though, and Detroit lost both of their coordinators. And usually when you lose both your coordinators from the season before, some things can get a little fishy with the season.
For sure.
And it could go to, the Lions are 6-6 and they need a win in this game, and suddenly things aren't looking great for the Lions at that point. And it is what it is. So, Julia, you feel good about your draft? You want me to read your team real quick or your games?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, you went Cardinals in the final week at home. You had the at Jaguars London game, so neutral site. And then you have 3 more home games: home 49ers, home Texans, home Bucks. So very home heavy for you here, Julia. Yeah, not even a true road game in your slate of 5 games. So I think that's pretty good drafting for you.
Yeah, I like that. And if anyone was listening the other day, I went with a lot of away games on the Fresno State draft. So this time I was thinking need to lean towards the home side and see how I do.
I had home Colts, at Titans, home Seattle, at Carolina, at Baltimore. I understand I'm in the Eastern time zone 3 times. I don't think anybody else has that other than Tanvir in Atlanta, and then obviously we'll throw out wherever Jacksonville is. But yes, I guess I'm the most traveled of the games that we have here, but I feel pretty good about what I have. And then Tanvir, your home Saints, and then 4 straight road games at Arizona, at Atlanta, at Seattle, at 49ers. How do you feel?
I think
you took all the road division games.
Yeah, I think that I think the New Orleans game is going to have to be a big win for me, and I think that is probably the game that has the most possibility to be a big win for me.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, I kind of just try to pick teams, regardless of road or away, that I felt like the Rams can exploit. I think Atlanta for sure with that pass defense. The 49ers having a lot of roster turnover. Seattle, we don't know what they're going to be. Their rush defense is still pretty bad in my opinion. And I think Kyron can do some stuff. And then I think Arizona, there's definitely a revenge factor there. So I like where my games are sitting.
Not a single game before November for you. So we'll see how it goes. All right, that's the Rams schedule draft. Next week we'll do Niners and Raiders as well. All right, let's wrap it up here. We'll take a break. We'll wrap up the entire show. Get you set for Giants baseball coming up tonight on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader.
Giants baseball is here.
Chapman, it's a drive out to left center field. At the wall, it is gone!
Your home for Giants baseball lives on 1430 ESPN Fresno.
Double play! And the inning is over.
Catch all the action home and away on the Central Valley sports leader. Giants baseball, brought to you by Patrick James, Pioneer Equipment, Der Manual Insurance, Ed Dinas, and Thiessen Duker.
Hi, I'm Nick Anderson.
And I'm Jim Schaefer with Helena Agri Enterprises. Nick, how important is irrigation management?
Well, Jim, irrigation management is extremely important. When we water our crops, more often than not, we're also fertilizing them. So irrigation uniformity and efficiency are crucial.
Nick, that has to be a challenge considering the different soil types and how they impact water movement.
That's right, Jim. That's why at Helena we recommend using our newest water use management tool, ResGenix. ResGenix is easy to use and designed to increase water infiltration on heavy soils, reduce soil crusting, and increase the holding capacity of sandy soils. Jim, tell the nice people how it works.
ResGenix enhances soil structure by coating the soil particles. Simply put, ResGenix increases pore space in heavy soils and improves aggregation in sandy soils.
At Helena, we lead with agronomy, and water management impacts our crop health and quality. You can visit helenaagri.com to find your local Helena retailer and learn more about Helena products.
Mike Dermanuel Jr. of Hub International Insurance Group.
That's the kind of relationship we have with our clients. They want to know what's going to happen if they make certain business moves, and we're right there to give them our thoughts and our ideas and our advice.
Hub International. Learn more at hubinternational.com. License number 0757776.
If our clients succeed, we succeed. And I think that's what we work on every day.
Fresno Pacific University prepares you for a life and career beyond a degree. But what does beyond a degree mean to Valley students?
Class schedules that fit my schedule.
It means easily transferring credits so I can pick up right where I left off.
For me, it's getting a degree as quickly as possible.
Having a community that supports me.
Fresno Pacific University takes you beyond a degree. Now accepting applications at fpu.edu.
Are you a business owner struggling to understand how cloud technology can help your business? Are you in need of computer and technology support for your employees? M-Cubed Technologies is your solution for fully managed IT services. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. M-Cubed will be your partner in the digital world, allowing your business to carry on worry-free. We specialize in cloud hosting, Microsoft 365 management, general IT support, and VoIP phone services. Call M-Cubed Technologies today to discuss our partnerships.
Is a cracked screen or dying battery putting the brakes on your day? Swing by Self-Fix for lightning-fast phone repairs. Our expert techs are wizards with all major brands, guaranteeing your device is back in action before you know it. Plus, every fix comes with our rock-solid warranty. Drop by 6751 North Blackstone or dial 559-765-8044 to lock in your spot. Self-Fix, your ultimate ally in phone rescue. Stay plugged in, only with Self-Fix.
At FFB Bank, we believe banking is more than dollars and cents. It's about people. That's why we're a farming-focused bank for hard workers, a future-forward bank for big dreamers, and a family-friendly bank that actually knows your name. From your first loan to your biggest milestone, FFB Bank has the tools to help you chase your goals, crush them, and score big. Because your wins are our wins too. So what can FFB Bank do for your business? Find out at ffb.bank. That's ffb.bank. FFB Bank. Let's win together. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
It starts with one thing. I don't know.
All right, welcome back to Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader. Wrapping up the show here as we get you set for Giants baseball later tonight, 6:45 pregame, 7:15 first pitch. A little update on some of the scores or some of the big events that are going on right now. Of course, softball World Series. I don't know if you've been following it. With 5-0 Texas right now. Off of this is what you were talking about, Julia. This is what you're talking about. You see a pitcher too much, and you're going to get him.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is they're not even throwing Kennedy right now.
Really? Okay, I thought they were.
Yeah, we just checked. We haven't been following, but we watched the TV, and we were surprised. I think it's a World Series game. Even though you've seen her 3 times, I feel like you still have to throw her at this point if you don't have someone else.
Yeah, I think so too. But regardless, it's going to be interesting to see if Texas Tech can come back. Texas Tech was like not even, not a powerhouse per se. They're 12th in the nation, right? So that's like not a big deal. It's a hard place to get to as a 12 seed, but it's going to be interesting to see how this all pays off for this team moving forward. Oh my God, I just realized I didn't even think about this. I didn't make the connection. They're showing the NBA broadcasters at the game right now. They're hanging out because it's in Oklahoma City, and the NBA Finals are currently in Oklahoma City. So I guess they're doing a little cross promotion right now on ESPN. Yeah, Texas looks like they're pretty much ready. Just already won out in the third already. So is that pitcher Galvin, right? You said, or what's her name for Texas? That's really good.
Cavan.
Yeah, Cavan. She's doing pretty good already. Other update in the sports world as well. 2-1 Oilers halfway through the first period right now. So I would say that over bet was a good call by me. Now, whoa, I just clicked on something. 2-2. Just tied it up. So, hello. Stanley Cup Finals already off to a blazing start here. Game 2 up in Edmonton. We're only, 11 minutes in, and we've seen 4 goals. So I would say that's a pretty decent start to all of that. All right, another reminder of the show schedule. Of course, Paul Metter's show coming up tomorrow, 10 to noon. You want to tune in for that, Central Valley Sports Report with him live from First String Sports. He has got this show, and then he's got the next show. So he is got 2 more weeks, and then he's off until August. So that's what you got for that moving forward. Of course, we've got Giants baseball tonight, and we'll mention that for just a little bit here. A's baseball tonight as well, all throughout the weekend. And another reminder, on Sunday, starting pregame at 4 p.m. on 1430, NBA Finals Game 2 coverage, Thunder, Pacers. Pacers lead the series 1-0, 1-0. And the Thunder will look to bounce back and win at home and hopefully shift this series to Indiana in a series tie, at least if you're an Oklahoma City fan. If not, Pacers could take a really commanding 2-0 lead if they can take care of business on Sunday. So a lot to look forward to there. All right, Giants baseball tonight. Giants going for 3 straight wins. Giants going against the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, who have been, I would say, historically bad when it comes to their bullpen. I believe, and this is just off the top of my head, I believe this is a series where we have the best bullpen in baseball going up against the worst bullpen in baseball right now, or at least, I don't know if statistically it is, but at least from my knowledge, it feels like it. You would have to feel advantage Giants, but they can't get in these like 9-6 slugfest with this Braves team that it's capable of. So the starter's so key here for the Giants in this series to get to the bullpen in that aspect. But the Braves, who are coming off a game Wednesday where they were up 10-4 in the ninth inning and lost 11-10 to the Diamondbacks. So I would say that's not a great taste in the mouth for the Atlanta Braves. But this is a key series for the Giants to solidify these moves that Buster Posey has made, adding Dom Smith, adding all these different guys into the lineup, DFAing some certain players, and seeing where things are going, shaking up the lineup, making it happen. The Giants kind of did that on Thursday and Wednesday with the Padres, but 2 wins is nice, 3 wins is very good, and can solidify what you need for this team. Julia, how are we feeling going into this series? Giants, Braves, after what I kind of just laid out with it?
I think I'm feeling pretty good about it. When going back to kind of the beginning of this week, we said that the Giants-Padres series was going to be a big tell of this Giants team. And they won 2 out of the 4. It was a little rocky at first.
Yeah.
But they were able to come back and get those last 2 wins.
Wednesday might have been the most important result of the year. It being down 5-1 and coming back and winning 6-5. That might have been that. It almost, I'm not being hyperbolic here. It feels like it saved the season Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it was huge. And I think that this series, as well as today's game, is going to be another tell if the Giants are going to be able to keep this streak going, which I really hope that they can, and I think they can. So I think it's going to be interesting. I'm feeling pretty hopeful for this.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see. I don't know if you want to chime in any more on this, Tanvir, the Giants baseball side of things, but they made some moves. Buster Posey says, we got to go. I think that was the quote. And it kind of feels like this team's got to go a little bit. I read the statistic back on Wednesday's show. It was like 11 straight games of nobody scoring more than 4 runs in a game.
Right.
But I feel like this series can solidify saving the season. You can't waste this opportunity against a team that really struggles to hold leads.
Yeah, I think that 6-5 win you were talking about, right? It's like not only did that show that they can get that comeback win, but also it showed that they can score those runs, right? There was so many games at that point where you're like, can these guys even score 5 or 6? But they did a good job of accumulating the runs, and I think this is another test against, as you said, a bullpen that is not as good as maybe one of the worst bullpens in the MLB, right? That they should be able to score runs, and they need to. So that's the big key that I'm looking for in this series.
Aiden Birdsong goes tonight. He's been phenomenal. Spencer Schwellenbach is on the other side. Here's the lineup for the Giants as it looks going into this game tonight. Elliot Ramos batting first, Jung-Hoo Lee batting second. It's Wilmer Flores in the 3 spot, Matt Chapman batting 4th, Dom Smith in the 5th spot. Willie Adames, looking to get his bat going, is in the 6th spot. Yastrzemski at the 7th spot. Patrick Bailey in the 8 hole, and Tyler Fitzgerald is batting 9th. So we will see what that lineup can yield. NBA Finals this weekend, like I said, all that stuff going on. Paul Metters Show, Central Valley Sports Report coming up tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon, so tune in for that. Until then, Julia, Tanvir, great job on the show today. Thank you guys for what you do. Appreciate you all for watching. Appreciate you all for listening. And we'll be back at 3 p.m. on Monday for another edition of Behind the Bench. Until then, have a great weekend, Central Valley.
Get your day started with Rich Eisen.
Derek Carr retires from the National Football League and goes home to